Hey guys, Shop Talk Podcast, episode 35. Back at it again, week after week. We're here for the people. New intro. YouTube is copyrighted, the old intro, so we changed it up a little bit. Tell us if you like it or not. But okay, we got Boyd, Bubba, Ness in here this weekend. North of Gonvick, legend from God's country, north of Gonvick. How's it going, Bubba?
Good. Thank you guys for wanting to pick my brain a little bit. It ain't very much there. But.
Yeah, a little closer to the mic there, Bubba.
Oh.
There we go. Yep. So, Bubba, you'd been around the snowmobile industry your whole life. People would probably recognize you most from probably your time driving the semi for the Christian Brothers Team Arctic Cat guys. But you were actually at the first Pine Lake race, and you're part of that group that helped set it up. But so I'd known you ever since I was a little kid. So my first question was, where did the nickname Bubba come from?
Rocky Eck gave it to me right after high school. When we were playing intramural basketball and stuff. That's where he gave it to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's stuck ever since.
Were you okay with that one?
Oh,
or
yeah, it didn't bother me. No.
Yeah.
I always thought Bubba was your real name for many, many years.
Well, that's a lot of people think. They just figure that's my name, and so.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was all I knew you as a kid. And then I think it was until I was older that I heard somebody call you by your name. First time I was like, no, are you talking about his dad? Or no, no.
Yeah, the bank was a little confused because my grandpa was Boyd and my dad was Bloyd, and then I'm named after my grandpa Boyd, so.
Oh, okay.
Made sure that the money went in the right account when you went to the bank.
Yeah.
But so kind of what I wanted to start off with first was that you were part of the first group of people that kind of started the Pine Lake race. And what we know as Pine Lake now is super big and our favorite race of the year, a lot of people's favorite race of the year. But like, what was it like being just coming up with this idea?
Well,
Like
Steve Dahlin and I would get it, and all we had was lath and painted out orange on the lath and staked them out. And then he come with a little Le Mans track and a little oval track in there and all right out front there. And it was probably 20 guys out there racing at that time. But it went from there. Then the Snowmobile Club did some stuff there, and then ISOC come in, and then it went from there to fans to USXC and with Pat Mock and Brian Nelson, and then now back with Chad, them, and they're running it now.
Mm-hmm. So like to probably forget a few people. It was like you and Steve Dahlin, I know Leo Pletchett,
Yep.
Frank and Gerald Dyrdahl,
Yep.
Wade Bakke.
Yep. Wayne there was in there. Yeah, there was a lot of times they just had regular ice races out there, just drags. The guys would be talking track at the coffee shop and at the bar, and you'd go line up out there, pick a weekend, and go line up.
I kind of heard about that a little bit. Gerald Dyrdahl had like an 84 LT Gray that was fast as hell.
Yeah.
And I think it was, I don't know if it was your father-in-law, but it was Bakke.
David?
It might have been.
Yeah.
But, lined them up one of them weekends or something.
Yeah,
like
I'm sure David did.
Bakke was working on his, and Gerald said, no, it's ready to go and for his machine, and went out there, and something had happened, but Gerald ended up winning it, I guess. So.
Yeah, there was a lot of trash. Well, it wasn't trash talk back then, what you guys call it now, but it was bragging rights. You had Teddy Erickson, he'd have one, Wayne Bakke, Gerald, Frank. Frank would come with a little longer studs than his, to get the little extra, teasing him about being illegal all the time. But, and David, and then we'd go a lot to the golf course, and whole shot across the golf course that your father-in-law's got now, and go in there, and then you'd go up to the bar and brag about that a little bit, the way you'd go.
So that was 87. So you had been like mid-20s at that at that time. Were you always kind of into snowmobiling before that time, or?
I did a little bit with David Rogstad.
Oh, yep.
And Tori Erickson was racing there. He ran an old Sport, and then we run the 500. We did the Heartland circuit back then. Mm-hmm. So that's what we do there. And it was, you go to the pro class down there, the 500 class, and they had to run 2 events because it was 100 and some entries in each for the total. So they run separate on there at the Heartland there.
Yeah.
Wow. Holy crap. I couldn't imagine Pine Lake with 100 people in the pro class.
Yeah, they shared them down many times. They had to,
Yeah.
it was all not timed event back then. It was all heads up racing and everything. We had Sharon and her group of girls in the timing trailer. Well, we call it timing trailer now, but it was a scoring trailer. And everything was done on hand, by hand.
Old school bus.
Old school bus, and everything would go, and fish houses, whatever you could get to bring out there that they'd sit in, and vans, whatever, and it worked. I mean, the Snowmobile Club did it for years and years and years, and it got to be the biggest and the best show so far around for a lot of years. For everybody wanted to be there. Pine Lake, they couldn't wait for it.
Yeah, that's how it still is.
Yeah.
I mean, they'd be testing for a week there. Arctic would leave their trailers and stuff there at sleds inside there all year for the public access, and by it'd be like where Hector and them guys park with the big Arctic trailer. That's what Arctic would have 2-3 trailers parked there and leave them there a year.
Really?
Yeah, Rory Haugen and them, they'd be practicing steady there, and of course Pake and them guys would come in down there, and Brad would fly in with his airplane and drop it on the lake, go there, and Tom would come with the trailer, and they'd go there half a day and fly back home and come back. I mean, it was weeks at a time them guys were there.
Really?
Wow.
And then the Arctic Engineering, they about lived there.
Yeah.
So they'd stop in Gully at the schoolhouse for breakfast. They always talked about. Come in there. You had Larry Colton and all them guys there from HP was being there, and
That's
Black
crazy.
Magic. Tim Berg was there. He had his stuff there, doing all his clutch kit stuff there for years. And
That it's just so interesting to me that you were there like for the first one, and then just like nobody knows on how big something's ever going to be when you're doing it for the first time. Is like what it turns out to be now. So
yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was Gerald and Steve Dahlen really had a battle all the time, and I think it was about in 87, 88, whatever. Steve had like a trail, Indy Trail, and I think Gerald had that Cougar. And you could widen the Indy Trail out a little bit with the top arms on there with the heim joints. You could make them out another inch. And you couldn't with the Arctics, And then, of course, you'd get that little bit extra in the cornering. And them guys had dog fights. Oh, they would go around and around and around, them guys.
was it a big track like in '87? Did you go all the way around the lake, or was it kind of out in the front?
Just out in front.
Oh, it was okay.
Yeah.
Because, like, I know the track that we run now that we go all the way back in the Back Bay and come out of the cattails, they've been running that course that was in, like, the late 90s, early 2000s, that it's kind of...
That's when they decided to.
That's when they wanted to go with the big mile tracks, big, like, stretch their legs out, before.
That my dad had said, like, we've been going around this cattail patch for 20 years now, so...
I know they kept it pretty tight for all the spectators, and we didn't have a lot then. It was just everybody coming to watch, and you didn't have no snow fence or anything lined up there. And plow with a four-wheeler. If you were lucky, you had a four-wheeler there. That was a big thing back then. Now you got pickups going around and skid steers running everywhere. And
Was it, did you guys do any of the oval stuff? Because I've seen Mike Carver have a video of him battling with Gerald on a smaller oval track out
they
there.
did a Le Mans type first, and then the next day would do the ovals.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So,
Huh.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
yeah, it was fun back in the day. I mean, it was like the way you race. Everybody come with an open place trailer. The back of the pickup, run a two-place trailer. There was no enclosed trailers back then,
That's how we're still doing it.
Yeah, the good old days.
Yeah.
40 years later.
Yeah. That's why I brought up the videographer deal. It's so neat seeing the shop at your guys' place, like all the badass sleds and stuff, and then like it's not like super high tech like you see some of these inside of these race trailers and stuff, and they're doing the shocks and everything all right there, and then you look at kind of what we're all working with, and it's like wood stove in the corner and, and then the nitrogen tank. Yeah.
Huh. So that's, Pine Lake is pretty cool on the history of it.
Everywhere you went, they all talked about Pine Lake.
Really?
Everywhere. That was the big show right after everybody wanted to see who had the speed,
Yep. And I like how Chad's still going with that like Pine Lake is the track to see who's the fastest.
Yep.
See who's got the fastest
You
sled.
get to stretch your legs.
Yep. Yeah, because even going all the way out to the Sioux, that those guys want to come to Pine Lake because they we want to go. The Sioux is its own thing, but then for all the Michigan guys, Pine Lake is our big thing.
Yeah, them guys got a little tough time because they always turning left.
Yeah,
right-handers they gotta. And for years, a lot of the cross country guys, you had Paul Mack, you had Todd Wolfe, you had Jimmy Kendall, and Davidson, John Witt, and all them guys, they'd go out there and they would be the guys to beat in the oval out there because of all the ice racing back here. And
Yep.
I don't know if it was a little more set up. I don't know. At the beginning, it seemed like, it was in the early 90s, and we were out there with Black Magic. Them guys would always hang down low and grind through the gravel, and you wouldn't have nothing left. But back then, you'd run 250, 300 laps like you were on a trail ride, and then the last 150 or so, you turn the wick up. Now it's you drop the flag, and it's you better not even breathe or you're not fast. Yep. You're going, you know.
Yeah.
It's a sprint right from the green flag now.
Yep. Do you think that was because maybe the sleds weren't able to handle it back then, or
it was strategy back then. A lot of one-man team, like John Witt, he was all by himself.
Yeah.
He was the only guy running. But there's other guys there, but he'd be the only one saddle up. Then Corey did it for a long time. Then he brought like Steve Olson on there and Travis LG in there and all them. Todd and them guys said, but then they started to get a little faster, and then it was more the NASCAR strategy started to get in effect, come in on fuel and everything, and then that's just how it picked up and started going and going and going. And like I say, now it's just you drop the flag and you better have on because you're going to get blown away. If not. So you go 117, 18 miles an hour down the back chute. It's pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm. Were there plow brakes back then?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
But they didn't have. They didn't run out with sweepers and everything all the time. They just plowed real quick, and then you had a berm, and then here and there.
But it wasn't scheduled like it is now every 100.
No.
It was more random.
It was random, and you had somebody broke down the yellow, pulling them in. They'd run out there and fueled, and come in and get fueled, and they'd go plow, and then you'd back out going again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't have all these fancy wrenches. Back then they had kegs of beer they even had set up in the air for fueling. Deal off the back of the trailer and drop in and dumping cans. Now you guys got NASCAR speed cans and special deals in the back, and jacks on the front, you jack them up. Back then, you used to tip them on the side and change your carbides out. Now you change whole skis and everything.
Yeah. And our one we did in like lap 430 or something. It was skis, gas, and they put some rivets in the rear mud snow flap, all in like under 20 seconds. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The Cataract
back
guys.
then, you didn't have your Milwaukee tools or your DeWalt tools. It was all speed wrenches. Hand speed wrenches is what you all used.
Just different times.
Yeah.
Goddamn.
Everything's growing.
Yep.
So where did so I don't know how I want to jump around here with where you told me a story that you were driving truck for Black Magic. You stuck on the Canadian border. Is that jumping too far ahead, or is there a lot of stuff in between there?
No, I went to we were out in Canada someplace to a race. I wonder if it wasn't Valcourt. We come back, and you had to have all your paperwork to go into Canada and come out of Canada. Well, Timmy had the lady do it, and they had it goofed up that we were in Canada coming to the States instead of being from the States going into Canada coming back. Mm. Well, then the guy at Port Huron said, and then you got Chinese clothing on. You can't have anything with Chinese made in China in Canada. So he said, if you want to get through, he said, you got to give me 10% of what this truck and trailer and the valuable of everything is worth, And at that time, we probably had, $80,000 to $100,000 by the time you knew 1-ton dually and a big trailer and all your parts in there, And I said, I look like I got like $6,000-$8,000 cash in that pocket. So I got on the horn with Timmy and.
What year would have this been?
Oh, that'd be in early 90s.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Right in there. Somewhere in that area.
To back up a little bit, how did you get hooked up with driving a truck for Tim Berg and Black Magic?
I worked with Tim on the pipeline. He was a superintendent for Northern Pipeline for years down there in the cities, and then he started getting out of that. Then him and Roxanne, they started they had MRP at first. He did that, and then he got out of that. And they had Kalamazoo, and then he ended up going into Black Magic, and then he ended up stepping away from being a superintendent for the distribution in the cities there for Northern Pipeline, and just him and Roxanne went to that.
Oh, okay.
And of course, he was working, and we grew up next to him in town. Him and Kevin and Arlo and Tippy and Terry were neighbors there. So, but then Tim told me go back across the bridge. So I went back across the bridge, and I sat there, and he said, "Okay, I got a guy lined up." He said, "You got to drive about 250 miles north. There'll be a little cross you got to do, like kind of like up there where Jesse lives up there, and Lancaster up there, just a little." He said, "You wear your Black Magic shirt," he said, "you be there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and he'll get you." So I went there and got there, and he grabbed me, and he signed the paper. And he said, "Don't even stop for 200 miles." He said. So that's what I did. Now, when I did stop, I got out and I kissed the ground. And I called Tim and I said, "I ain't leaving this here state, USA again." And he fought for, I don't know how many, probably a year or so back and forth with the courts because they wanted him. They had you caught going across there, and they wanted to know exactly what was in there. But it cost Tim a set of pipes and some gears and stuff because that guy that bootlegged me across was a drag guy. So he had connections all over the country for that.
Oh, funny.
Can I ask what was the deal about the Chinese clothing? Canada?
You're not allowed to bring Chinese stuff into Canada. That's their law. Well, all the shirts he's got are made up of, Taiwan, Chinese, everything, hats, coats, and all that stuff was made there. And you got a 36-foot fifth-wheel trailer full of that and parts and everything. So,
God, that's weird. Yeah. That's strange. Wow, I had no idea that's a thing.
And we go up like to Portland, Maine up there and race up there in Bangor, Maine. Them Canadians that come down, you get them rabbit bunny hats. They would come and buy them. They had black magic on them, and you'd sell two big boxes out. And they couldn't speak any English, but they could point at the hats.
Yeah.
That's what they did.
Yeah.
I'll be damned.
Money.
Yeah.
Did you? So you got sent up there to an oval race or something? Just as it was a parts trailer, Oh, okay.
Yeah. Timmy was selling clutch parts and some clothing and everything like that, and he was kind of like a distributor that would run around. That was before Arctic had what Larry Burbick drove around.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And you were just doing that while you were laid off with
in the wintertime. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Nice how that worked out there.
Yeah, I did it for many years. We did it, and then he got in, when he was doing the MRP stuff, then it was me and Jeff Solberg, we'd go up to Buzzy Gus and pick up straw bales and haul on the trailer and haul them down to Alexandria or wherever we were at racing and set them up there and work for there. There's where I got to beat Sturgeon for the first time. It was Formula 3 stuff going on, and it was Mike Hool, Steve Hool, Bender, and Guy Useldinger and all them guys there. And somebody was late. I couldn't remember getting the lane. And Sturgeon was jumping and hollering, "You got to get going." His sled was loading up, whatever, and kept screaming and hollering. And I just shook my head no and held him back a little bit. And I waited till he looked down at his tack, and then I hit the light. He ended up coming back, and he won. But he come back, and he chewed me out one side and down the other.
Oh, my gosh.
He was just hot. And then he come back towards the end of the day and apologize and everything, but it's just the way, when you get him on the sled this time, it's business,
Yeah.
And it was heat, though. Them guys are always in a battle.
That's funny.
Because he was running, that one year in Eagle River, I think he won, he was running with the 440, the 580, the 700 ZRs, and then he'd run the Wildcat, and then he'd get into Formula 3, so he was busy. 6, 7, he'd jump with one sled to the other and jump classes. And
Wow.
That's like Gerald did that too with that Cougar. Gerald was fast on that thing.
Really?
He was beating Jerry Dillon and all them guys on them tracks. And Joey would come over and ask him what he's got in there. And I was standing by Gerald and I said, I wouldn't tell him nothing till he give you some carbides or some stuff. And I don't know if he ever did, but that's what I told Jared I wouldn't do.
Yeah, the secrets.
Yeah, that'd be a good topic to talk to Joey about. Just on how it was dealing with Gerald and all those guys back in the day.
Oh, you go to the race shop there during the Iron Man, and there'd be 20 sleds in that back room back there. That'd be where DigiKey's at over there, the old race shop. Not the new one. That's where DigiKey bought on there. It used to be where Arctic Sewing was at back then. They turned it into the race shop. Don Haugen, Rory, Corey Burbrick, Cletty, Al Shimpa, and then you had Kirk there. Then you had Paik was out. I mean, you had everybody when Iron Man. Everybody was there. File, you had Logie, Scallett, all them guys' sleds are. J-Mans, all them guys' sleds are back in there working on.
Wow.
Is there, I wonder, I've never seen any pictures of that. That'd be a cool picture to see the back shop room of just all those sleds just sitting
you
there.
went in the first door in there, and that was Kirk's stall, and he had 2-3 lifts where you had your sled on there, and then you go in the back part, then that'd be kind of a bigger part, about the size of Brody's garage here. Sure. And then they'd put all them other guys' sleds in there and work at them, then wheel them out. And
Wow.
the race sleds were stacked up in the back by the crates, had the names on. We come and get, back then they were given, like top guys like Brad, them guys, they were getting 4 or 5 sleds a year.
Wow.
You know, they'd race one I have one set up for Pine Lake for lake racing. One was just strictly for the 500, and one for the Iron Man, and then they'd mix them up and go. But yeah, they got 4 or 5 sleds each back there.
Jeez. Yeah, I know. Like the looking at a statistic of like the sleds that were sold in like 1997, I think was the peak to what are sold nowadays. It's not even comparable to how the industry is.
Well, what one on Sunday sold on Monday.
Yeah.
That's pretty much a true statement back in them days.
Yeah.
'Cause I remember back in, I don't know, it was the early 90s somewhere, where Dave Dolan said, whatever wins the I-500, I'm buying it. He ended up buying whatever. I think it was Jeremy File, I think, won it on 89 500 special, and then he ended up buying. We both had 500 Indy specials at that time. He ended up buying. But
What was it that Rory Haugen won Pine Lake on?
Scorpion.
87. Oh, Scorpion.
I think it was a Scorpion, yeah.
Yep. Was that a big deal at all? Like, or was Scorpion?
Do you remember?
No, that probably Scorpion in northern Minnesota probably at that time. Yeah, you never seen hardly any of them around.
Did you remember if it was like a Sidewinder or something like that?
No, I couldn't tell you. I think it was kind of like an orange color one or whatever.
Yeah.
But
That'd probably be a Sidewinder. They're the same thing as a LT Gray at the time or whatever. But what I was interested in, that's a leaf spring sled. And then 87, they had IFS and, Polaris was fast in 87, stuff like that. So I was kind of amazed to hear that all Scorpions are leaf spring sleds. So that's kind of crazy. The leaf spring machine beat all them sleds back in the day. So, yeah, that's kind of cool. But they're all the same engine.
Yeah.
Scorpion is just shit ton lighter, I imagine.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. Start throwing on the dual coil over shocks and stuff on the rear end of your 87 LT Gray or whatever the hell, Cougar, whatever the hell they were racing. It adds a lot of weight.
Yeah, I just didn't know if that was a big deal that you'd want to, or if it was like a big enough race for it to be a big deal that he won on a Scorpion at that time, or if it was just, if there was a lot of Scorpions around.
No, there wasn't. It was just mostly your 4 manufacturers that was always mostly there.
That makes it even more cooler than.
Scorpion shut down. Articat bought them out in the 80s or whatever, and then Scorpion shut down. Last one was in 81. So,
really?
Yeah, that was the last Scorpion made, 1981. It probably was a Sidewinder, I imagine.
So to be still running in 87.
That's
cool,
why I'm like, jeez.
How the hell did he do it?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I'll have to ask him at Pine Lake this next year.
Yeah.
How'd you do it?
Yeah.
Bush Light.
Yeah.
Lots of bush light.
Yeah. Oh, funny.
That was a lot back then. A lot of people down there. I mean, they were like Robert and Danny were chasing. Danny had a 580 ZR. He was running there, and then that's how he got in with Rory and all that, and that's how he ended up getting to be in with Articat, stepping in that way. And
okay. So then you were working Northern Pipeline, driving for Tim Berg during the winters. Then where did it transition to driving semi? Or is there anything in between that?
Well, there was in between when Timmy there and I went to work for ISOC, the regionals, with Brian Rust, was the flag and the corner guy and helped set up guy to track. And then from there, Dunk could put me in with the national stuff, and he would fly. He'd just fly you to each race there. And then,
really?
Wow.
And he found out I had a CDL, and then he wanted me to drive. So then I ended up driving to the old red Freightliner we had that we had the skid steer in and all the bales and the banners and everything in, and go set up everything there. So
that's the thing. Sometimes some operators on the job sites, they don't like people knowing that they have a Class A because then they're going to be put in a truck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the flying days were over and it was driving. But it was a good gig. Joe was good to work for, and Scott O'Malley. They were fun, and it was, back then it was a big deal. I mean, everybody wanted to be in the national event, and that's where it kind of, Snowcross took its big dive. I mean, they had the regionals and the districts, but everybody wanted to go to the nationals to be on TV because that was on there, and then started starving out the districts and the regional. And
yeah. Late 90s, early 2000s?
Yeah, in there. In there, yeah. Because then it was everybody was maxing out credit cards. Then you'd come. I remember Larry Burke standing there, and a kid come and try to run 3 credit cards to get some parts. You know, and didn't have no more. And his buddy come and put his credit card out there, and that. You run 3-4 races, and then you're out of money. I mean, you're running from South Dakota to New York, West Yellowstone, you know, Valcourt, Quebec. You know, a couple times in Michigan, all over. Then we did the indoor races at the domes. You know, the Pontiac Dome, Green Bay, and
I remember the Fargo Dome one.
Yeah.
We went back in the day.
Yeah.
And all I remember is just the haze.
Yep.
we run like Green Bay and all that. That was when I was driving for Ola and them. And the first race we had outside, because they didn't have enough snow or didn't have it right inside. Then the next year we come back, then we run inside. That was the first non-football event at Green Bay at the stadium.
Oh, really?
Wow.
No studs, nothing. You just got carbides and you had all plywood down. They put the snow down. You had to cart them all in from the parking lot, all down in. They had a spot in there to start them. As soon as you were done, you'd cart them back out.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That was pretty neat.
First event besides football game was a snowmobile race. That's pretty damn cool.
And them Packer fans, they were there. I mean, them guys love their snowmobiles too. I mean, it was packed.
Huh.
That's cool.
I had no idea. Yeah, that is cool.
It'd be cool to see all the pictures and stuff from
Mm-hmm.
them events.
Yeah.
And Arctic had big things out in West Yellowstone. They had them Snowdio days. I think that was in like 2005. You had like Terry Clark, Big and Rich, Trick Pony, Sawyer Brown was the bands that would come and play there. And
That'd be a hell of a party.
oh, it was like 5 days there.
Wow.
And we had Keith Haugen. We had both Ola trailers, and Gary Nelson was in charge of marketing then, and we stuffed them all plump full of brand new Crossfires. Nobody even seen them out there except for the testers out there, and we come and brought them out, and that was their big debut to the Crossfires out
really?
there. And they'd have rides out there. People could go on a drive and ride them on a little track they had up there, and then Gary gave me and Keith one of ours for ourselves just to keep, so we'd go riding on there. But yeah, at night we'd fire up the lights on the trailer and have everything in the shows, and people would come in and see the trailers and what they were like. And Arctic threw a lot of money out then.
Yeah. That's hearing old stories of like them like flying sleds up to Alaska during the summer and going and testing on glaciers and whatnot, stuff like that. That just the amount of money they were putting into it.
Well, Sturgeon kept burning down in Eagle River, and they flew Greg Spalding, Dean Swartzwalter, which was one of Brian's mechanics, and somebody else. They rented a plane from Eagle River and flew back to Thief River to get more parts and another motor, and then flew back. They left that night and drove up and got their stuff and flew back so Brian could race the next day.
Jeez.
Wow.
I know Mike McCardle, who we've had help us with some of our ZRT stuff, that he said Sturgeon's triple that they were running there at Eagle River was like 170 plus horsepower.
Jeez.
He said high horsepower but high maintenance. It was maintenance every single time it came off the track.
And you're a pretty big boy. You had to have all you could do to turn that thing. You had so much ski pressure on it. I drove it a little bit in a pit there one day, and it was enough for me. That's the same like Brian Dyrdahl. Brian Dyrdahl had his sled so wired so tight that you run it wide open or it's going to buck you, and that's the way he won them. That guy was phenomenal on a sled.
Yeah, I remember my dad said he would the trail riding with Brian one time that him and Brian traded sleds. He said Brian's sled was just so rigid and twitchy, just trail riding at like slower speeds, that it was not very much fun to ride.
No.
And Brian wouldn't get off of Dad's sled because his was just soft like a marshmallow, so it's easy to drive.
But if you want to go fast, I guess that's what the setup has to be almost.
You didn't know where you were going to draw at, if you were the 5th sled out or if you're the 40th sled out, you know, the holes and whatever else was there. And after everybody, back then, everybody was running the track a week prior, so you had 5-6 foot holes before it even started,
Jeez.
Oh my God.
Approaches, then all froze up and everything, Then we running backwards. Some years we turned around and running backwards.
Oh yeah, we talked about that before. How crazy of an idea that was.
Yeah, Dad said when they did that, they went to Bemidji, I think, and they turned around and ran it backwards all the way up to Thief River, and then where you can turn north of Gully, you can go to Thief River. That's where it started was new, like all the way up to like Rosa or something. So to ride it backwards, everything shaped the wrong way and rock
20 below and rock hard.
Did they only do it like 1 year or 2 years?
I think you end up doing it 2 years, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. 2 years, I think.
Yeah.
2 years finally learned, like, maybe that's not a good idea.
That'd make a man out of you for sure. That second day.
Then some years we didn't have enough snow, so they only run it so far. Then they hauled them down to Garrison and finished 2 days of running on the lake there.
Oh, really?
I
Wow.
think it was Kirk won that, and then I think Pake was second, File was third, something like that. They got a picture of them dealing there, 1, 2, and 3.
Huh.
Big ice ridges out there, you know. And
Were you a kid watching the I-500 come through Gonvick back when it came through Gonvick there
right
as a
when
kid?
David was in, like, I think 77 or 78. We got out of school to watch him come through, you know, and they'd come on through, you know. That was a big thing. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, David said he remembers like the whole bunch of kids standing out there.
Yeah, we go up by Phil Allen's where it'd be NB and C now.
Yep.
Yep, that's where we'd all get up there and line up because they'd come right there because they come right down. You had Gary Mathis, you had Teddy Erickson run it, you had Earl Swenson was running it back then, you know. I mean, that was a big thing then, you know. You could take them old Leaf Springs with 4 inches of travel and you're running and big thing to finish. Just the finish was a big thing.
Yeah, yeah. That's cool. They let kids out of school to go watch it. That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, it's always been kind of if you finish it, that's a accomplishment in itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, yeah, that's wild though. It seems like snowmobiling was bigger. Like there's more fans.
It was back then, you know, because everybody had a sled. You know, gas was cheap. You know, you could. Right, I grew up on a 71 399 Olympic. You know, 5 gallons of gas you could ride all day.
Yeah.
You know, mixed gas back then. You know, but you ride all day. So
Yeah. Like looking at photos of like old Eagle River where the fans are around the track, like 20 people deep.
Yeah.
But you'd have to think that like being that the TV coverage is so good at it now that like that's got to be one of the reasons that people aren't going there just because they can watch it on their computer at home.
we'd go there for a week. We'd take a week and go there.
Really?
Danny Dyrdahl, Wade Bakke, Shane Olson, Robert went a couple times. My cousin. We'd rent a place for a week and then just go ride during first part of the week, and then when the races start, then we just drove in because you couldn't ride into town because it was just all whooped out. I mean, it would be like on a snowcross track now would be, you know, because they got tons and tons of snow up there, and it just beat you all up.
Yeah. That was crazy. This last year we went out there and they didn't have hardly any snow. Mm-hmm. So from the year prior we were out there, it was noticeable for even us that the hotels there had no trailers at them, and the year before they had 100 trailers at this one hotel.
Yeah. Then you'd get there and they started that Friday Night Thunder. That was a big thing. Where they run that Formula 3 against the twin trackers and everything. Little shootout there.
What about the 24 hours of Eagle River? Did you ever?
I never ever went to that.
No. Okay. That was we had a debate about that a few episodes ago. If it was, there's not a whole lot of coverage on it, or people know about it even. So it's one of the cooler things that we've thought.
Yeah, back then, you know, there wasn't a lot of TV. Snow Week was your main cover. You know, you got your paper. You'd wait every week for that magazine to come. You know, see who was on the cover and what the write-up was about. And
yeah, Kyle's got about 100 of them.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I had 100 of them. I got a few that I see people selling them. I grab the good ones, the ones with people that we know, and it's really interesting because they did really good at covering all the races. So it's great to look back on and then see all the names and stuff. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, CJ did a lot in there, and John Sandberg and all that. Pat Bois did a lot of the photos and everything, back then.
Maybe that's something we should try to fire back up.
Snow Week.
Snow Week magazine.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, God. I don't know about that.
Put a printer in over here.
Yeah. Brody, are you bored during the week?
No, not really. No.
A printed press right
That
here.
bike won't get any more miles on it.
I just bought a motorcycle. Oh, I was going to start this episode with my motorcycle helmet on and say I got a new bike.
Yeah, we didn't say anything about that.
No.
We will towards the end.
Yeah, towards the end. Yeah, don't need to get into my new motorcycle now.
But, back then, Arctic had big teams. Polaris had big teams. Skidoo had big teams, They had Titus, Davidson, Hyde, Brown, and for the Red Rockets there for Polaris for years. And
So was Pro 5 their own thing at that time?
Yep, Pro 5 was their own. Yep. That's what sponsored Corey a lot for the Sioux and everything was Pro 5.
Yeah.
Bert and Larry there. Their little shop up there in North Anderozo.
Yeah.
Leroy there. Back in the day.
Yeah, that's that's stuff that's hard to come by now. Just like Black Magic stuff Pro 5 stuff is, pretty sweet stuff. And yeah, it's cool hearing stories about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I give Zach a bunch of Black Magic stuff. He was into that, and I had some the binders with your papers and all that in there, and I had a whole bunch of writing. I just left it all in there and gave him some stickers and whatever else I had stuff. So
yeah, he has a pretty sweet collection out there in Eagle River. So because they were letting us work on that catalyst mod in their shop there, right across from the track there. So Dad couldn't help himself from just looking around and looking at all their old cool stuff they had in there.
Yeah,
so.
I'd love to someday.
You would have had a blast in there, Kyle. Just looking at all the cool old stuff.
Yeah, nice. I see he sells a lot of it. Like just recently, the Saint Germain stuff. He had a whole bunch of stuff for sale, but he's still got a bunch of cool stuff.
Well, I think they had to build a garage just for that stuff. I mean.
Yeah, that's when you know you got a lot of stuff. You need to keep building garages. My gosh.
Well, then I didn't know at the time that Zach was related to Brad Pake and all that back there through Jane and all that, the Herfindahls that side there. And I didn't even remember. I don't remember like when Zach first come up and started racing.
No,
or his dad or anything back then.
It was first time that I heard of Zach Herfindahl. He was winning pro class.
Yeah,
I mean, before that there was not much.
Yep.
So.
No, I think he raced maybe one semi-pro race or one season of semi-pro, but I didn't even know who he was at that time. I think I was in trail class at that time too. So but just like that, just one of the best in the world,
right?
Over a summer,
crazy.
So were you having fun traveling the country? With
it was fun back then
with the national stuff.
Oh yeah, we'd go and stay in Watertown, New York, and wait to go to Valcourt, Quebec. You'd pull into this holiday in there and we'd take the whole parking lot up because we had Justin Halverson was driving for Dwight, and I had there, and had one other one. I had the clothing trailer or whatever it was, and we had all kinds of Z-Man was in there for Tucker's bunch and all. We were sitting there and go into I don't know if I could say all this, but go into the Holiday Inn and you're going to we're going to be here for a week. So, go in there in the evening and you're going to start drinking some beer and 2 beers and you're cut off. They were there in New York.
Really?
Yep, 2 beers and that's it. I said, well, my room's right down there and our trailers are out here. 2 beers is all you get. You go to the next bar or go whatever. So we just found the nearest off sale and put the music loud on the tailgate of the truck in the back of the trailers and sat out there and lit the lights all up and partied half the night out there. We ain't going nowhere for 4 days before you got to get going.
Yeah. Watertown, pretty neat area. That's where I picked up a sled in Watertown one time. Yeah, it's a pretty neat area. Right at the border.
But you come from here, you sit here and you can drink till you fall off the bar stool and you go there and 2 beers and you're done.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Even back in the day. God, what the hell? You'd think what's the point?
So back in the day, like traveling across the country, was it better? Was there like not as many people on the road? Like you just got your big map and you're just going across country?
We kind of run with 4 or 5 guys together. We'd kind of run. We'd run with Juddy. We'd run with Bowman that run for team at that time, and then it would be Keith and me would run for Ola, and you have Dean Turcott was running for Tucker at that time, and Kevin took over after that. And then Warner's had 3 trailers on the road running, and Shearing was there. You just get in and kind of meet, all kind of run together in case somebody had some trouble,
Sure, sure.
Big convoy.
Yeah, you had some of them guys you had mechanics with, that if you had some trouble, they could help you out fix, or you call a tow truck,
You have radios?
Yeah, everybody had CB and you talk in there,
Nice. God, that would be fun. That would be fun.
Yeah.
Then you'd have to leave, 2-3 days ahead of the race because you only drive so many hours. You don't know if you have trouble or whatever. It ain't like the mechanics. They just jump in and pick up 4 guys and like driving to the Sioux, Hector and Corey and all them guys, and Zach. Why do you got to leave so early? Well, you run into a snowstorm. Then if I don't get there, then whose fault is it?
Yeah.
You could have trouble. You could have an airbag go or blow a tire. You don't just pull in someplace and can you fix my semi tire?
Yeah.
You get caught with your hours or something. Because we were many times where we'd do War Road and come back to Fertile, and unload the snowmobiles, cross-country stuff, and throw the Sioux stuff in. And at 10 o'clock at night, I'd be leaving 11 o'clock at night to head for the Sioux.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to get in and get parked and everything in there. You get a spot. And that one year we loaded up the 2 sleds there, and they didn't even run. We've been fighting with them for a couple hours, and finally I said, I got to go. I said, otherwise somebody else is going to have to go with so we can drive around the clock. You know, I drove to Wakefield, Michigan, and spent about an hour sleeping, dusted off my taillights. I got down and hit a snowstorm. Highway Patrol pulled me over. Can't see your taillights. I said, I just left Wakefield. And don't matter, he said, because the LED lights, they don't burn hot enough to get the snow off. He said, you got to dust them off. He said, so I dusted them off twice, and after that, I didn't look till I got to the Sioux. But it's always a nasty snowstorm going to that Sioux, it seems like. I know, for me anyway, I got caught, and I don't know if it was bad luck all the time for me or what. But
No, I've been pretty lucky the last 3 years I've been out there. I've been pretty lucky.
Yeah, shit, it was 40 degrees when we drove through there this year.
Yep. Yeah, that was unreal going out there this year, that there was no snow going out there. That all those places in the UP that usually have 20, 30 trailers parked at them, not a single truck at them.
But last year I drove, I couldn't even see hardly the front of the hood of the truck. And I called Dwight and I told him, I said, I don't care, you find somebody else next year. I'm not going to that race. I'll drive anywhere. I'm done going to the Sioux. It's the last year I've been there.
What year would that have been?
Oh, well, let's see. Was it the year that you won it with Brian Dick and them guys? I think it was. That 15?
Yep.
15, I think it was.
Yep, Wes and Brian Dick.
Yep. Because it got cut a little short because of the snow for visibility.
Yep. So that would have been that year. So you were a truck driver for the winning Sioux team.
Yeah.
So
That's pretty cool.
That's a good deal. I got her picture all up there on the stage and everything, all up there and everything. Watched the guys do a little burnout in there. That was pretty cool.
Heck yeah.
That'd been many years since Arctic had won it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So then when done helping the national circuit guys, does Dwight Christian
Yeah, then I helped Dwight a little bit.
give you a call and kind of pull you away from that, or you were kind of done doing the national circuit
I was
stuff?
done doing the national stuff, and then Brian Sturgeon called me. That was before I went to work with Dwight, and then to drive for Ola.
Oh.
For Brad and Terry and them, and they bought 2 brand new trailers from Elite Trailers out of Hugo, Minnesota. It'd be Jim and Brenda Bergerman there, and he built them right there at the shop there. They were at that time, he bought 2 of them. I think they were $250,000 or $260,000 a piece for them right there.
Holy crap.
So, and then they just got done building Tucker's, called it the Green Pickle. That was the year before. They got done with that one, and they built 2 for Ola then. And
Holy cow.
The green pickle.
yeah. And then Robbie Gordon was in there because Jim was big into drag racing, and then there was a couple other big name. Johnson was there. Robbie Gordon had the back of that trailer. You'd sit in there and you'd hydraulically lift it and go up like a canopy, be up on top. That's what he had special made for his off-roading stuff built right in there.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's something you should do.
Yeah.
They had their own little pop-up deal to go up out of the trailer there, but yeah, it was something that was made there. It was amazing, and all the work that gets done on them trailers
Holy
to
cow.
build them.
Yeah.
At that time, Featherlight was probably a 2-year wait or so to get, because they built all the NASCAR guys, and all the Cup guys, everybody there for that, and drag racing guys, and then Jim got into that, and it went good there, and then just got to be hard to get help, and
So like with Ola, that would have been like Robbie Malinowski?
yep, like was it 04, 05, somewhere in that area?
Yep.
3, 4 we did there. Yep. We had Ken Ipson and Robbie and Ryan, and through the years, Jeff Snow, Garth Kaufman, TJ Gula was there, Johnny Mole was in there, so Curtis Crapo in there.
Sean Crapo?
No, Sean was on. Sean run for the Green Pickle. He run for
out of
he
the
was
factory.
out of the factory there. With Russ and all them guys there.
Yeah, he just did an episode on the Carbide podcast, and he was really interesting to hear.
Oh yeah,
hear him. So
he was we would go out. We had to go qualify for the X Games. We went to Lake Tahoe. It was Robbie and Ryan and Curtis. And they only took 2 spots for the snowcross, and Robbie and Ryan won that. And then they had a hill cross there, and Pool at Speedworks built 900 something. I don't know. It was all tight. And Steve and Dean did all the titanium to it for the hill cross there, and Kurt got on that there, and he was going over, and finally went about halfway up the hill, and it kind of just about bucked him off, and a guy was going by, and he grabbed a handful again, and he went by that guy like he was standing still and won it all. Then we come back, and then we stopped at Idaho there, and we stopped at Curtis's and his folks' place there, and then we stayed there, and we rode dune buggies and dirt bikes out in the sand dunes out there, and you'd be at David and Patsy's place there, and you'd be looking at dunes on one side, and you'd look at the Tetons on the other side over there. That was pretty neat.
Yeah, pretty damn interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Holy
I've seen a lot of country doing that stuff. I mean, a lot from one end of the country to the other, you know.
Just driving.
Yeah. Meet a lot of people, a lot of nice, good people.
Yeah, that was where even that you've met so many people. Even when we were just at the championship truck off-road races down in ERX last year, the guy who's driving the Fox semi.
Oh, Z-Man.
Yeah, we were just standing there with Vince and him, and he had heard we were from Gonvik, and he just says, "Oh, do you know Bubba Ness?" It's like, yeah, we know Bubba.
Yeah, Z-Man. We worked a lot with the national circuit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then he switched over and started driving for Fox.
Oh, okay. It was just funny that it's just so random that we know Bubba.
Him and his right hand man, John Anderson. They're from Pillager over by Brainerd. Yeah. That was a good group back in there. It was good. It was fun.
I suppose it was all kind of the same truck drivers, kind of just everybody knows everybody.
Yeah, you'd have the flagmen and the corners would fly in, and the girls doing all the work there. They'd fly in on a Thursday, and we'd just load up Sunday afternoon and head for the next one if it was one that next weekend, and unload and start making tracks and setting all the bales up and doing all the stuff. Yeah,
that's the thing kind of with being a truck driver in your Class A, you're kind of, it's hard to kind of replace. It's not an interchangeable job almost.
Yep.
You're kind of, you're the guy, you're there.
Yep. Certain things got to go in the truck a certain way to make it all fit. You know, you put the ASV, the starting line banner, the finish line banner, all the bales in there, at that time we had, it looked like plywood, but it was had all the sponsors on. You have to fit all them in there, and you put them in roller deals and slide up in there. I mean, everything had to fit just right to get in there.
Big puzzle.
Big puzzle, yeah.
Big puzzle.
And you get some help, in the evenings there from other people to help after the race, and they just come and just start throwing them in, and they got a big pile of everything you got to sort out, which was all right, though, because you didn't have to be chasing all over a track board,
Yeah.
You had side-by-sides that had to go in and stuff, so that was a big deal. It was fun.
It had been fun, like being a truck driver for the teams like that, just because you're part of the team. You're there with all the racers, and just you're just there, kind of deep in all the action.
Yeah, you get there the day or so ahead of time, and you get to kind of relax a little bit before the craziness starts.
Yeah,
because it was like 6 in the morning. I'd go in at 6 in the morning, load all the sleds out that was there from the night before, because it would all wet and mud and whatever in there, and squeegee everything all up, clean everything all up, and bring the sleds back in so they were warm when the mechanics would get there. And there was some babysitting going on with some of the riders.
Yeah,
leaving their helmets and stuff everywhere. And finally, I just started throwing them in the garbage. And I said, I'm not your mother. I'm not your girlfriend. I'm not your babysitter. You're old enough and you're growing up enough to take care of your stuff. But I mean, they were getting boxes of goggles, boxes of sunglasses, 2-3 helmets, or if not more. You know what I mean? It's pretty neat.
And they're racers. Racers can kind of be a little crazy.
Oh, yeah, and some of them didn't realize what they had, and blew a pretty good opportunity where they could have, instead of partying and carrying on, and they'd have buckled down,
I'd heard that the Ola operation was kind of crazy, kind of out a little different than like some of the other operations that were going on, just because that guy, he was there to win, and
Brad,
and he win at all costs and spare no expense.
And it was tomorrow, you couldn't get a part tomorrow fast enough. You wanted it, you had it, But he was, he was good for the sport, I mean, you're going to get some guys from Arctic that ain't going to say it, but he was for advertising and making it. He helped to make the jump to get over for advertising. He was a marketing guru. He wasn't one to deal with, because if you thought you screwed him over, he was gonna try to get you on the short end of the stick, that part. But as far as marketing wise and things like that, he wasn't scared to spend money on marketing.
Yeah, and like sometimes the sport needs people like that, like that people that just aren't scared to spend money. It helps the sport grow.
We rolled into Duluth the first race of the year, and them 2 big trailers, and the mechanics and them guys come in with 2 brand new Hummers, all wired, all deckled up by me and everything, and everybody else coming whatever pickup they were using to go to their daily job, and that's all they were. I mean, he come in with a show, but I know there was a big deal at the end there. There was some lawsuits going on back and forth between Arctic and all that stuff that was getting pretty hairy and pretty nasty back and forth there. I think it was just more of a power struggle, who was going to end up. Grunt, who was going to have the better arm wrestling deal there, But like I said, he was pretty good for the sport there for a while there. He did good for them in the advertising part.
And so through all of that, are you still working Northern Pipeline and then doing this in the winters, or?
Yep. And then we did a motocross thing.
Yep. Yeah, I have that. I have that written down.
But before that, we were supposed to do the Loretta Lynn's for the ATVs for Arctic.
Oh, really?
So I was gonna go down south and just live down there and run. So I bought a Harley. Bikes.
Yeah, talking about bikes.
Yeah, I bought a little Sportster I had, so it would fit right up in the top of the semi up there. So 'cause I'm gonna be the only one there, I ain't gonna call a cab, or what are you going to do? So I bought one of those, put up in there, and I bought it from Dean Turcott, who was driving for Tucker at the time, and then that didn't pan out. I don't know what happened, where Arctic or Brad and them guys couldn't get along, or what the deal was, but they had some riders lined up, supposed to go and do all that stuff, and then I was just going to run that Loretta Lynn circuit and all that down south, and Steve and Dean were going to. They just fly down there on the weekend and work on the stuff, and then come back, spend a day on Monday or whatever there, then fly home, and then fly back down or whatever, or leave a mechanic or somebody there. But that never ended up panning out.
Yeah, that's. I don't know if anybody knows of that.
You're right.
That they were going to go down to Tennessee.
Yeah, that was Arctic's big thing. They wanted to get into that was back like when the 650s come out, the H1s and all that on the 4-wheelers. They were going to get into that.
Yeah, because then they tried making their own, like, kind of a more of a sporty quad 450 kind of thing that.
Yeah, they were trying to run like that scrambler deal one, and they wanted to do the mud run and everything with the big snorkel up and everything.
Yep.
That was their theory, getting into all that stuff, and which was a good market, because players and Yamaha and all them guys, Suzuki was in on that big time then,
Yeah, it's like, these guys are doing good at it. Why can't we get into it?
Well, they wanted to make a something to do in the summertime with it.
Sure.
And they wanted to get their ATV product out.
Yeah, just another market to throw your hat in. Yeah, totally.
I don't remember his first name. I know it was a Gust. I think it was his Shannon Gust. He was big into the quads. He wanted for many years. It was Kent Ibsen's buddy, and they'd go flying all around. But he was I suppose it'd be the motocross or the style on the quad like your dad's got. He won that for years. He was like 3-4 times. He was the national champion on that, Loretta Lynn, all that, all over the country. So they even had him. He was going to come on board and be the rider. That time Kent had lined that up, but then it kind of got a little falling away, and then he went back to where he backed out and went back there. But Robbie and them were going to do a little of that and come down and do a few events like that and stuff.
So yeah, you had it worked out pretty good to where you were just working in the summer, and you had this awesome full-time job in the winter too.
Didn't get much ice fishing in.
No.
No. When you got done, it was, at that time, Duncan had quad in the mountain. So then you were down there making snow and getting that ready to go. So, because they were testing there all the time, and then Warner's ended up buying that out and doing there. We used to, back in the day, before before Joe had it, or even when Warner said it, they'd go back up them 2 hills back in the day instead of just the 1 hill. There's 2 hills back there. I can't remember what the circuit was that was back in then. We only raced it a couple times there with Rogstad and them guys, and then it was fun because everybody was trying to figure out how to come down that hill, and the momentum would carry you forward, and there was a lot of woodpeckering going on. Oh my! Doug Lamb was one in there, and all them guys back there, Sturgeon and them guys back in that day, Lauren Wolf, Todd Wolf, and Harley Dober, and
Yeah,
Ryan
like
Berline there.
Quadna Mountain, like it could have been big, but
It was big.
Yeah.
In that early days, that thing was packed.
Really? Yeah. I know we went down there for one national, and it was super cool. We went down there for one like bigger regional. And it was just a regional race, and it was still fun to go watch. But now they don't hardly do anything down there.
See, back then they had that motel and bar and eating place up the hill that belonged to Quad because that was a big ski hill. That was open, so that was jam packed, and with little 2-3 motels in Hill City that was there. Otherwise, you had to go to Grand Rapids.
Yep.
And drive that 20 miles or whatever it was out there.
I've never even heard of that place.
Quad Mountain.
Claude Mountain.
It's where we went to Mud Nationals.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Down in Hill City there. Yep.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Yeah. So we went down there for the Mud Nationals two times maybe. Me and Mandy brought our quad down there and everything, and the trails they have down there are crazy. It was, if we had that around here, oh my gosh, it'd be so fun. All we got around here is just farmland.
Yeah.
No really hills or trails or nothing.
Railroad tracks.
Got to go to a trail and get on the sand pit.
Yep. And then one hill to drive around on, Bunker Hill.
But then when Duluth took off, it just killed that one.
Yeah.
They run some regionals and some districts out of there a little bit, but
I suppose you can't really have 2 big entity events like that. Just
well,
kinda,
they didn't have the place for people to stay was the big part. That's why Duluth took over. You know, you got so many places to stay and eat. Everything you could fly in, fly out. You needed to, you know.
Yeah, I suppose. But I suppose Grand Rapids has a lot of hotels, but it always seems like they're always full.
Yeah, I mean, you got a hockey game going on or something, and you can't get a room there for.
Yeah. Yeah, we got kicked out a few hotels because of hockey tournaments.
Nah.
It's like, I've been staying here for a month, but now next week I can't.
I mean, it was nothing to have 700-800 sleds at Duluth when you open up, Thanksgiving weekend. I spent many Thanksgivings eating turkey out of a microwave out of there. The guys everybody's wives would take turn, they'd make it and have it there, and they'd bring it to us there with coolers, and as we would sit.
Yeah.
I mean, there was nothing open. You couldn't go get a pizza joint, or nothing was open back then. They shut everything down.
Yeah, that's a hell of a Thanksgiving supper.
Yeah. We spent many of them there, sitting in the trailer.
Was this, so when you guys were going down to Quadna for like testing and whatnot, that was probably before like Christian Brothers had their snow guns and their snow setup?
This was still in the Ola days back then.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay.
And at that time, when I was running with Ola, then Justin Halverson was driving for Dwight on the Snocross trailer, and he had Eckrey and Logie and all them were in there, Simons and all them.
Yep.
Because Dwight called me and he said, I'm going to do the Snocross thing, national stuff. He said, you take Justin with? Yeah. So then we just, called Justin. We were in Fergus Falls, and he was in Fertile, and we were going to leave such and such a time, and we'd figure out wherever we could meet, whatever, go, and then we'd just take off and go, and then we stayed out. He just stayed with us and run together and just hung out.
Huh.
Because Justin, at that time, he was Logie's mechanic, so then he would just work on the stuff during the week there,
Yep. So then switching from so you did some pro motocross stuff in Canada,
Yeah,
right?
Canadian circuit, yep.
Yeah. Who was that with?
It was for Yamaha.
Oh, really?
Yep.
How did?
Andre Lauren lined it up. OTSFF. Andre had he was a big in the bike racing up there, and he was probably the top Canadian snowcross team up there at that time.
Oh, okay.
And then he was they got into dirt bikes and all that stuff. So he had Suzuki, and then we had Yamaha, and then we run with Blackfoot Honda. Kelly that drove the truck for Blackfoot. That's who Morgan run for and run national champions up there. And then we had Richmond Kawasaki was the Kawasaki guys up there. So we'd run together. And our shock guy was the one who did the KYB shocks that got for Morgan going on. He was development. He was our shock guy for the Yamaha trailer.
Oh, really?
Yep. So, yeah, he said it took about 3 years in development to get Blair shocks to where they work for him the way they went.
Wow.
Yeah. So
It's crazy.
and Andre, he had Suzuki. We had Doug DeHaan and Brad Hegseth and a couple guys that were our riders all the time. But Andre would bring in somebody from the States, different guy every weekend. And I mean, we had God. I remember had his name earlier today because I knew I'd forget it. He was about 14 at that time, and his folks sold everything they had for him to go dirt bike racing.
Wow.
And so was the Canadian stuff. They had you going from West Coast to East Coast.
Yep. We went up and got the truck and we had drafted up there, and then they decaled it up there. Then I carried. Yeah, at that time Yamaha had a little. They'd stay afterwards, and during the race they'd have for little kids to ride. I had like 2 different size bikes in there, and all the gear. You'd have to stay, and they'd have a course lined up, and they'd have a guy there, and the kids would come and ride, and then I'd have to wash them all up, put them back on top. And then so I'd be a day to 2 days behind them guys, the rest of them guys. So, but it was fun. It was good for the kids, you know.
What was it like driving in Canada compared to the U.S.?
Oh, it's way different.
For trucking,
really?
Like trucking wise?
You get up there, the number 1 highway up there, it's pretty much wide open. But you got to watch, like when you get Ontario, you don't drive after dark because there's so doggone many moose.
Oh, really?
And they black flies are on them. They're on the highways, you know. So there's moose laying everywhere.
Yeah.
Holy
That's
shit.
what up in Alaska they had signs that like this many moose killed this year or something.
The railroad was really bad on the railroad. They'd kill them all because they'd try to get out of there to get a little wind to get the flies off them. So.
Oh, okay. So yeah, like in Alaska, it was like that they were hitting moose like we hit white-tailed deer around here.
That's where you see a lot of them trucks with that big bumper on the front that got built up in Canada.
Oh,
For the moose.
For the moose. Wow. I mean, there'd be nothing left of your truck. You hit one of them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Great. Huh?
What else was different about driving?
It was really pretty up there. You get up there into Golden, up there in BC, up in there. We went to Vancouver, and then you went on a ferry. You had to line up the ferry about 3 days ahead of time.
oh wow.
Cost it was like just about $400 Canadian at that time to get on the. It was good line. Andre would line it all up, so all 4 of us guys would go right on it. Put all 4 of us race trailers on there, and
That would be
and
pretty
a
cool.
ton of cars, and it's a 45-minute ride, and they got gambling. They got casinos on there. You can eat on there. You can drink on there. You can do whatever you want on there. It was a full-fledged deal.
That would be a cool picture. All 4 of
Yeah.
them race trailers together
On a big boat. Yeah.
on a ferry.
Yeah, we had them. It was driven right underneath. You didn't even see them. We just opened up the deal, dropped the record. You just drive in. They put
really?
all cars by. Yeah, they had yellow lines. You just go, okay, you need to be in line 4 with your race trailers, nose to tail, and you're just driving right on in.
Wow.
Big wheels would spin, and away you'd go, then drop off there, and the big hydraulic gate would come and drive on out the other side.
That's pretty cool.
Damn.
At the Whistler and all there, and the guys that rode bikes around there with Whistler, pedal bikes, and them big mountains up in there, and it was pretty neat for them guys.
Yeah, never been to Canada.
Nope.
Yeah. It's different, but it's fun. It's fun. I mean, we ended up going to New Brunswick. It was at the end there. I spent all summer up there except for about 10 days over the 4th, and we had a break, so they flew me home. Otherwise, we started out and went to Vancouver and ended up in New Brunswick on the east side.
Yeah.
Watch the tide come in, and then the tide go out, and the boats would be laying on the side. The tide would come in, and standing back up.
Was the dirt bike stuff fun? Did you enjoy the dirt bike side of stuff?
Oh, yeah, that was the sand dunes one was probably the funnest. That had really deep hills and them things go in there and sand. And then we'd have Andre, he'd rent a lift there, so you'd go and get in the lift and then go way up so you could see all the track, you know. Then the wind would come and it would be blowing there. I just said, no more for me. Get me on the ground. God, I'm trying to remember that kid's name. He made it. They ended up winning the 125s for the Supercross. I'll remember it before we get out of here, hopefully.
Sure.
Yeah. Something will pop up.
Yeah.
As soon as we turn the camera
Yeah,
off,
that's
you'll
what it'll
remember
come.
it.
Yeah. I was trying to mention to your dad the other day too about it, and I couldn't do a blank on it. But he come with all he did is he come with his gun suitcase with his 2 front forks and his rear shock in there.
Really?
That time he said they were about $20,000 for that suitcase.
Jeez.
Holy
So you
crap.
just carry it the way they'd go.
Holy crap.
Have a handcuff to him as well.
That's crazy. You can get that much money into that crap.
Oh, yeah.
He said every 2 races they'd completely go through them.
Wow.
Now for like the factory guys, probably every race, they probably open them up and go through them again. So yeah, that's cool. That you're into the pro snowmobile stuff and then go up to Canada and pro motocross stuff. Any offers to ever do like any U.S. pro motocross stuff?
No,
Or?
Brian Russ did it. He did it with Nathan Titus does a lot of that AMA stuff, and Brian was in the setup. I think for like people to come in and visit and do all that deal there, and then he'd tear down and he'd get to watch the last part of it. But he did that for a while there.
Yep, with the fly racing, hospitality trailer and everything. They actually had a job opening a few years ago for that. And I'd actually thought about it just because I have my Class A and everything, but you could travel the country, but I don't know. It'd be fun, but then you'd be gone.
Yeah.
So it's give and take.
I had a deal with Joe Gibbs Racing. They wanted me to come and pull one of their cars around, and just set up, like go to the fair and like heydays and all that. But I was talking to the guy, him and his wife doing it, and they run you ragged and you don't make much money in that.
Really?
Just constantly driving.
Oh, yeah.
Drive.
And you get
don't
maybe
stop.
you get lucky to go to the race, and then as soon as the race starts, they want you out of there to get to the next one, so you don't even get to watch the race.
Oh, sure.
Wow.
Then I had a chance to run the parts trailer for Skidoo, Tom Rager Sr. when we were out in West Yellowstone, and he wanted me to move to Wausau and run the deal that yellow Mack they bought and everything they first had and everything there, but I didn't like the Wisconsin that far away.
No.
Yeah.
So,
Because was that when Tom Lawrence was at Skidoo? Or
no, that was Tom Rager Sr. was there, and then Tom Lawrence come in after that.
Yeah, because you and Tom Lawrence are good buddies too as well.
Yeah, Tom was doing all the tech work and everything for ISOC back in the day. Yep.
Huh. Is there anybody you don't know, Bubba?
There's people I remember their face, but I can't put a name to them.
Sure.
They'll come up and tell you.
Yep.
I'm surprised on how many names you still remember. You're
There's,
throwing out so many names
there's
already.
lots more than that there.
Oh, I bet. God.
Right, if I remember, we were in Canterbury and got a phone call at the room and had to go down and kick George Sherrard off the track at Canterbury. He was out testing Tony's sled at 1 o'clock in the morning, George, he was good for that.
At like the Super Enduro or
No,
Snowcross?
just the
or?
regular Snowcross.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And yeah, you can't do that? Not 1 in the morning?
At Super, which Super do we had? We had one that had the curves in it, and we had one that was just a straight oval, and the back stretch was straight.
I'd think where it had the curves at the beginning and the ending of the back.
You had curves in the curves and they straight in the back.
Yep.
Then we took them out the next time we went there, and then it was just straight.
Oh, really?
Big bumps in the front, and then you had to have the ice to handle go around the corner.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something that they should try to bring back.
Oh, that was brutal. I know Jesse Strag and Tony Heiken, the only reason he wanted, he had coal rolls stuck in his tubes along the side of his rails there, and everything else where the bolts and everything else on was, you could see right through it. That was the only thing that was holding. Tom said probably 4 or 5 more laps and they would have just fell right apart.
My gosh.
But that's where Tony's the one that started the motocross style where you hit your brake and drop your nose.
Yeah.
He started it in there at Canterbury.
Huh.
Well, what were they doing before that? Just
Launch flat landing.
They'd be a lot of woodpeckers and that over deal and falling. I mean, it was brutal back then.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was man and machine. It was beast. It was
Yeah, that's one race they should bring back.
yeah.
That era of snowmobile racing is just so fun to watch. That was when like the people were better than the sleds.
Yeah.
Like the sleds just couldn't keep up with them.
No.
Yeah, I think that's, talking about like even the Champ 440 bumping up to the 600. Well, it's like 600 or cross country went 2 600s and stuff like that. And stuff is really fast now, but there's no way a guy can outperform the sled anymore.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
just like the 450 dirt bikes too.
Yep.
So yeah, it would be fun to have a class where it was like 440s or 500, something a little more laid back where you're actually the one doing the work. It would be pretty interesting.
Yeah, the factory's got a pile of junk sleds back after them years. There wasn't a rivet that wasn't spun, the tunnels and everything was all, well, I think Brian, he had him and Chad and them guys replacing bulkheads all the time. They were just busted them all up. They didn't get to have 2-3 sleds, They had one, the Bron, and that was it. That was when they were first getting up in there,
Yeah. Yeah, Brady was telling me that they're like sitting and waiting in the line to get their sleds up in Thief River, and they'd get like three of them maybe, or maybe they got 4 of them. But yeah, it was a totally different era back then.
Yeah. Dwight, when them guys got on there, they'd go down with the semi and get it loaded up. The whole semi back to Fertile,
Yeah, it's not like that anymore. No.
Would they like? When Dwight goes and gets a semi, would they pay for those, or would those just be a deal?
I don't know. That was, I suppose that'd be with Brian Sturgeon and Coletti with Dwight and them. I don't know if it was part of a
that
they got a cut on them, or that was their sponsorship. I don't know. I don't know anything part of that details. What happened there. And then you got a parts allowance so much, and then after that it costs you after that.
I've always kind of wondered that on like when a big team like that has a full semi of sleds, like on if they're getting them for free or if they're getting them for a lot better price than we're getting them. And
I'm sure some of them back in the day got them for free. I know when I bought my 94 ZR from Timmy there, he sold it to me for racer cost, and that was $3,600.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like a very good deal back in 94.
Well, they were about $6,000 new when they first come out.
Really?
Yeah.
They were that high.
Yep.
Oh.
To get a racer one, you could go get another one, but you got a racer one with the.
Sure.
I know in 93 when I was riding them, Timmy we wanted to ride in, we had the orange plate on. And you got waived from the DNR, so there was no speed limit then. So I could go on the trails. I could run 80 miles an hour, and game weren't coming. I just pointed at the plate because you were part of the Articat, and they had that deal. Same with Pine Lake. You could go out and run Pine Lake anytime with that plate.
Huh. I'd never heard of that.
Yeah, otherwise, it was, 50 or 55, whatever the speed limit is.
Yeah.
And so what did that plate mean?
It was a dealer plate.
Okay.
So then you were registered through Articat to the dealer, so you were testing. So you could exceed the speed limit.
Oh.
Because we were riding, a bunch of us. It was David Quinn, a whole bunch. We were going to Leonard, and we met Spalding on the trailer, and them guys all stopped, and I just kept right on going, and then they never come, and then I come back, what's going on? Well, and then Spalding, why didn't you stop? You were speeding, whatever. And I said, I can with that plate.
I'll be damned. For testing purposes, you can't really do anything to us. Wow.
This is a get out of jail kind of sticker
Yeah.
right here.
That's pretty cool.
Then you had to have, after that, then he put a little pressure, and you had to have a card from Arctic that said that you were testing for Arctic, you were an Arctic employee or whatever, then,
Yep.
But they were just handing them out, like. Because, like I say, they were down Pine Lake, all winter long testing,
Yeah. Yep. That's what we've been kind of lucky enough that the DNR is kind of stayed.
And it's good because, it's a good shot for the community, everybody there. You buy gas, you go have something to eat at the lodge, or if you're going back home, you maybe stop in Leonard or wherever, it's a.
And we're kind of out there before, like, the ice fishing is, like, good. And, like, it seems like a lot of the ice fishermen know that we're kind of out there testing, so they kind of stay back a little bit. But, yeah, if we were out there with 100 other ice houses, then I could see where they would kind of have a problem.
But back in the day when ISOC was coming in there, everybody was down there testing. Guys didn't say too much, and there wasn't a lot of people then because you got 3-4 feet of snow on the lake. What are you gonna do? You got to plow out there, whatever. A lot of guys didn't have plows on their pickups back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a lot of testing you can do when there's 3 feet of snow.
Yeah. But you couldn't get to your fish house, you got to get it off. And so it just kind of goes with the times. You got some of the guys that complain about it. You're going to have that with everything.
Yeah, for sure. I know my dad said he's gotten pinched down there once with him and Josh Davis were down there. But but we've been pretty lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about when you went to go help Dwight? Like that was kind of that was when I like knew that you were driving semi for snowmobiles.
Yeah, I first started, I did the clothing trailer for him. Bought a Peterbilt fifth wheel trailer, big trailer, and that was, they set up the drift clothing then.
Oh, yep.
So, and then they had all of his advertising on there, and then his wife Carrie was selling all the drift clothing stuff and shirts and all that, so we'd pull that to the race. And then Justin was driving for Logie there, and then it ended up going then Brian Russ took over after that. Stuff,
Oh, okay.
So that went on for a while there, and then I just kind of started getting tired of going to the same places, same deal. And
you were going all the way out to X Games and staying out there for a week.
Not so much with Dwight and them there, but with Ola, we'd be out there. Yeah, we'd go a week ahead, and then we'd go stay out and Roger Skyme knew a guy, he was caretaker. I think it was George, one of the big golfers, Norman or whatever. He owned a big ranch out there, so we'd go out there, and it was Tucker and us guys, and I think somebody else, Sean and them guys come out there. And they just went out in the big alfalfa field, and they just started burping them sleds and making berms and things, and that's where they made their test. We just leave the semis and everything there and drive back. And it was out by Rifle, Colorado, where we stayed out there for about a week. Tested before
Some guy's golf ranch.
Yeah. The elk would come out of the river bottom. The guy would be feeding cows, and there'd be 100 head of elk out there mixed in with the cows, and big bulls standing around out there.
Huh.
Damn.
I know Wes sends me Snapchats all the time.
He's got him in his yard.
Yep, right in his yard.
Yeah,
just
that's
a
what he
whole
was
herd of
telling me.
elk.
Yeah.
God, wouldn't that be something?
Yeah.
That would be so freaking cool.
Yeah.
Like a mythical creature standing in your yard every other Sunday. Like, come on.
Well, every day.
Every day.
Yeah. Sending me Snapchats of
Well, that's what that farmer said. He'd go out there and he'd roll out hay for the cows, and then the elk would come up to eat, Just lay by the river or right off the edge there.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
Cool.
That's pretty interesting. X game, yeah. So like X Games for like snowmobiles and snowcross is no more.
Nope.
They don't do it anymore. But was it as big as they prop it up to be? Like when you were there?
It was for a while there when them guys would fire up them mods and everything.
Yeah.
They would leave that ski board and everything. They would just come in groves over to watch that. And they had trick jump in there, and the back flips and all that stuff there, and the hill cross. It was big there for a while there. It was a big draw.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sean White would be on the hill going down there, and people just leave. Yeah. Come over and watch them guys. It was 150 feet them guys were. I took pictures of them guys flying over you.
Yeah.
Like nothing, you got Morgan, them guys burping and looking down. They figure out where they're going to land. It was unreal the way that the tracks that were made out there,
Yeah, because there was a few times there, like during Tucker's winning streak, that was the pinnacle. That was the biggest snow show on the snow, pretty much for snowcross.
It would be 25,000, 30,000 a team would spend out there
Really?
just for that race, because you'd go out a week ahead of time, test out there, and then the housing went in there. Like when we rent for Ola, he'd rent a big house that'd see 12, 15 people. Then you'd have that. Then you're eating out everywhere. Kevin Costner's got a restaurant. It costs you like $5, $6 for a little cup of soup, and like $10 for a burger, which is now advised, but back then was big money.
Yeah.
I'd go to the grocery store and buy turkey and ham and milk, and the lady said it was like $4 and something for a gallon of milk. Back home, it was probably $1.50. And I said, geez. She goes, welcome to Colorado. And I said, I can't wait till I leave.
It's not a very good welcome.
No, but, you got everybody from California living out there, and they got their ski hill homes there, and it's just.
Wow. Holy cow, for a team to go spend 20,000, 30,000 for the week.
Yeah.
To go to X Games.
Well, you'd have 2 weeks. You'd have the week before, and then you'd have the week of,
okay. So,
But
yeah.
it's still a big chunk of change,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you don't qualify there,
Everything's
Everything.
out the window.
Yep. We'd back to, they have places in the parking lot. We'd back the trucks and trailers in there, and then I'd have to unhook the trucks and take them up to the rodeo grounds and park them. Well, that's when everybody was having the 80 to 100 gallon fuel tanks up in front of the trailers, and then you'd have the local bulk guy come every couple of days or 3 days, whatever, and fill you up to make sure you didn't run out, And it was, you could last 3-4 days, but you didn't know whether he was going to come or not.
Yeah.
So when he was in the deal, you just had him top it off to make sure,
Huh.
Jeez. Any trucking stories of broke down, laying underneath the truck in the pouring rain, or?
No, none of that. We had to spend, when we left the X Games one time, we had Warner's left about 20 minutes ahead of us, and we had to stay on, we had to sleep on the mountain up there on the side of a hill because the road got closed. We didn't have chains with. Well, you couldn't put any chains on them trucks and trailers we had because they were going to tear all the fenders off, you know. So, and if we had got caught, it was a big fine. Well, we just went with it. Got Turcotte and those guys, we just stayed up on the Vail Summit Pass. We spent the night up there. And like I said, Warner's were 20 minutes ahead of us, and they went.
Dang.
And there was times we had to leave the X Games. Well, when TJ Gula won the gold, and we had to be in New York for the next weekend, and I said, we don't got time. I'm sorry to cut it short, but you're going to have to find someplace else to do your celebrating because I got to get rolling. We had to reel back to Fergus Falls, dump that stuff off, throw in all the stuff for because you had different sleds because they had a high altitude for all the X Games, and unload there and head for New York.
Oh, man.
Crazy.
The Red Bull guy said, "Oh, you guys going to drive all night? Here, give us each a case of Red Bull." I drank about 6 cans of them.
Oh, my God.
Didn't do nothing.
Still tired as hell.
Yeah, still tired. Stop at a truck stop and get a couple Mountain Dews and a bag of sunflower seeds and then just drive. Well, the next time they tried to give us that, I said, "No, you can have that Red Bull."
Yeah.
But it was pretty neat to meet all the superstars out there for the ski boarding and all that out there. You know, like Sean White and all them people out there and all them from different countries. It was pretty neat.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be
go to
sweet.
X Games.
Yeah.
Be on the inside of it.
Yeah. Yeah, because you got all the backstage passes, and
the riders got, the athletes got passes to go in to get all the food inside there. They fed them there, you know. We just ate out on the truck deal, you know.
Sure.
But we all had grills and stuff with, or you'd go get sandwiches and stuff like that. It wasn't, and some of the riders, they'd go in and bring a bunch of stuff out to the trucks and put them in the fridges there, you know.
Yeah, I can't believe they kind of let that go. Like what a spectacle it was. But now
I think it was ESPN that kind of, I think they were worried about them starving the rest of the snowmobile was going to take over. You know, they had snowmobiles, they had dirt bikes out there doing all the stuff. It was pretty wild.
Yeah. Yeah, that was where Brian Dyrdahl, or Brian Deegan. They did they had the dirt bikes out there, and he crashed hard doing a flip or something. I think he almost died from that crash, crashing on hard ice like that.
Well, I wasn't there the year. Wasn't that one kid from Texas? 2 brothers.
Yep, Caleb and Colton Moore.
And one of them crashed, and he ended up passing away later on. I wasn't out there for that when that happened. I was watching that on TV.
I've read a few things that was kind of where they started to shy away from snowmobiles, is because of that accident that was when they started to pull back a little bit.
There's a book about that. I think one brother wrote a book after that kid died or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
I remember watching that. Yeah.
Yeah, they were pro. I think they were pro quad guys.
Yeah, I think they were from Texas. I think they were from.
Yep. And then that's how similar a quad is to a snowmobile. Guys from Texas.
Wow. I forgot that happened.
Yeah. Yep.
Though I was younger when it happened. So, when did they stop with the snowmobiles during the X Games and everything? All the freestyle. Because I remember Levi LaValle doing like the double backflip and stuff for the X Games.
What would have been 17, something like that?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. 16, 17, I think, because it was Tucker was on like a 9-win streak, and then they just had a little tiny oval track, like the last year, and then I think it was Peter Narsa won it, and then ended Tucker's winning streak. But it was just Tucker got a terrible start, a terrible little track that nobody could pass on. And it was just like they kind of robbed Tucker of it. If they would have a normal track, Tucker would have just checked out like he usually did. But
they had big tracks when we were out there. I mean, they had mogul section, they had big jumps, and they had a bunch of hairpin turns and zigzags back and forth. It was, and they'd disappear a little bit, and then all of a sudden you'd catch them going up to the top, and then he'd come down, and all of a sudden, way in the air.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But because they had Tucker had his own semi, the Team Arctic Cat guys had their own semi, and then Christian Brothers had theirs.
Yep.
So there was,
and Morgan had his.
Yep.
Sheeran was out there. Judnick was out there. Team had one out there, and the Warners had a bunch of theirs out there. We had like 9, 10 semis or better stacked in there. Some of them they put plywood down, and Joe had been firming it all up with the groomer and the plywood down. We backed them up on the hill a little bit under and sat under crossways.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Huh. Huh. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's a cool career like that. You always wonder on how somebody gets kind of like a cool job like in the industry like that.
Yeah.
So what about when Brian Dyrdahl was on? He was telling us a story where he was the I-500 and his sled was going down. Day 3, Brian Dick was catching him.
Oh, yeah.
And he said you were coming up alongside of him and you were giving them hand signals on how far away Brian Dick was getting to
Me
him.
and his uncle, Arliak, was in there. And I could see it. I was looking in the mirror, and I could see Brian coming. He'd hit them approaching, the light would go, and then it would down and go, and you could see. And I pointed back behind, second, and I said, he's coming. He's not, and he's got a clutch issue or something, a spring or something, and his clutch or something went, and he just put his hands up like that, and then all of a sudden I seen that light go up, and it was light, and then it was just dark, and then down, and then Cleddy called me and said that Brian broke. I said, "Where's Brian? And what happened?" And then he broke. He burned down. So then I went to Brian. I went like this. He goes, "Yeah," and then I give him the broke signal, and he started dancing. I think he had about 3 miles to go to the finish line, but he was only going like 30, 40 miles an hour at the most. It sounded like he blew it up. I suppose the clutch, was all the spring.
I can't remember what did he say was wrong with it, Kyle? I can't remember.
Was it a secondary spring or something?
I think it was
like
secondary spring it gave out on him.
Yeah. But I remember he said he was holding it wide open at the last crossing there to cross the road.
Yeah, and the highway patrol wanted to stop him dead.
Yeah, he come and hit that one approach we were going by him there, and he almost nosed it because he couldn't get enough to get over it and kick him,
Oh, shit.
So,
God, what a feeling that's got to be, knowing that the second place guy.
I could see the light coming, when he's coming, and Brian Dick wasn't letting nothing. He wasn't just skipping over them approaches. He was launching it. It was 10, 15 feet in the air over them approaches. He was coming. You'd see him up by the lines. And excuse me.
And for him to be limping along like that at 30, 40 miles an hour,
feeling,
for him, it's just like moving as slow as time.
3 days of the most grueling.
Run 480 miles, and then you're going to get caught the last 2.
Yeah.
No, so that would have been pretty funny of giving him hand signals.
And then when he won, won Pine Lake, he didn't have any. You had decent goggles, and I give him mine, and I had just a pair. They were amber colored, but they had Polaris on the band. And he got center of the snow weekend when he won it
in '96.
I can't remember what year it was.
Well, it was the 96, 97 when he won it, and then
it was on a cat then.
Yep. So that would have been the December
of 96.
96.
Yeah.
Yep.
Going into 97.
Yep.
And then Joey come in there, and he was raising Cain about them wearing a goddamn Polaris goggles.
Won the race.
I said, Jesus Christ, Joey, he won the goddamn race. I don't give a shit what he's wearing,
Yeah.
I said, well, then give him some goddamn goggles. Next week, you got a box.
Yep. Something was wrong with yours, so I had to have a new pair.
He couldn't see it. The light was in. I just happened to have them in my pickup, and I said, try these on. Yeah, they work. I said, take them and use them. I tried. I said, well, 10% now at 1.
Yeah.
So he was just laughing. Yeah, we were in his garage. Well, I was over at Gerald Sharon's place over there, and he was on waiting for Skidoo then, and I called up Tom Lawrence, and I said, I'm Brian Dyrdahl's race manager, and we're not signing nothing until I get some apparel, We were laughing, I hung up the phone, Tom, after about 10 minutes of bullshitting. Then Brian calls me about 3 days later. You got a box over here. There I had a Skidoo coat, one of them black mechanics coat.
Yeah.
And then he said I had a little note in there now. Will Brian sign the agreement?
Oh, that's awesome.
Remember one time when Tom Lawrence was the tech guy, and he was laying on the ground checking a guy's studs and a guy in a Polaris there, and he put his stick out there, and he was 1/8 of an inch too wide. Well, at that time, the Polaris, the shocks would get hot, it'd sag a little bit. Tom was giving him a little static about that. said, well, I suppose you're an Arctic guy, you know, whatever. And Tom said, I'm as honest as days long. He said, yes, I do work for Arctic. And he said, a rule's a rule. He said, I'll give you this time. He said, but if you come in the next race like that, he said, you're out. Laying on the ground checking the studs, and then that guy smarted off to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, never a good idea to smart off to the tech guy.
No.
Because he could get you later on.
Yeah.
Those are the guys you want to kiss their ass.
Yeah.
You know, back in them days, you know, they were testing fuel and everything. You know, they had the thermometers that go in there to test them for temperature because everybody was running whatever they could run, you know, to get by with.
Yeah.
Wasn't it a lot of like isopropyl or
That, or if you'd run a little higher octane fuel in there way over, you know, but you're supposed to run, you know, the 91, you know, but maybe you were mixing airplane fuel in there and whatever else, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Make it go.
Airplane fuel.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Well, that's like
It burns cooler, you know, so you can run leaner, you know.
Yeah. 110 octane. Yeah.
Yep.
we were on that in the 440.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
some 100 from Boston Airport.
Yeah.
Blue.
It's blue?
Yeah, it's blue.
Oh, I'll be damned. I didn't know that.
Nope.
Huh. Is that what makes it burn cooler?
No.
I think that's what makes it taste different.
Oh, it tastes
I know going way back, it was during the Jeep 500. It was me and Frank Dyrdahl and Larry Erickson. We went up there to Two Harbors area up there, and we were watching them come through. And the guy, the Jeep guy, he's standing there, and he said, you going to be here for a while? Oh, yeah, we're going to watch probably 10, 15 sleds, and we're going to try to catch them down the line. Well, just direct them down the road this way, he said.
What?
Got to the fuel stop, you know. So I got a Polaris jacket on. Frank's got an Arctic jacket on. Larry's got an Arctic jacket on, and it was Nolan Akamus was leading, and Kenny Fett was second on a Yamaha, you know. So we turn him and point him down that road. You know? And Nolan turns and heads down that road, and it's going to a fuel stop. You probably got about a half a mile, 3/4 of a mile, and it opens up, and then the truck's there. But you couldn't tell him. We could have sent him a road this direction.
Yeah.
Nolan turned, and he went down there about 100 yards. He stopped, and he got off the sled, and he looked at it, and I just pointed and kept going like that. We all did, you know, and then he went. Well, then he got a little farther up, then he could see a sign that said fuel, you know.
Oh.
And then Kenny did about the same thing, Fett, and he was on a Yamaha. And after about 10 guys come by, you didn't have to do nothing because they just followed the tracks, you know, and the berm and everything going. But yeah, we could have sent whatever, any direction we wanted to run them out of fuel. You know?
Yeah.
Nolan ended up winning it that year. He ran it on a 488 Indy with a advanced time, and he said it was a little quicker and a little lighter than the 400s that where they were running back then.
Really? Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 488 was a fan cool, and then
Yep.
400 was a liquid. Yeah.
Yep.
Huh. That's neat.
And
yeah, in 91 when they came out with that 400 or whatever, it's supposed to be the bee's knees, but then I've seen all the old pictures and stuff. A lot of people were just running trails, fan-cooled sleds, so they must have had a little bit more or something.
Yeah, you could advance the timing, Nolan said, and get him to really work.
Huh. Neat.
At that time, he was testing for Polaris up there. Him and his brothers are up there.
You got any of those in the collection, Kyle?
No, 91 XC400 is pretty hard to find.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. I got a 92 XCR 440. That's when they switched it to a 440, and then they were a bit faster. But yeah, all the way through 92 to 97 was when they would have switched to the exhaust valves. So, yeah, that's what your old man raced on for many years. Is a 94, 95. Did he buy a new one?
Yeah, he had a few liquids there, and then he had switched to the fan
Yeah,
class. So, yeah, I think sounds about right.
Yeah, got a couple of them. One 92 and then a 97 XC. That's same thing, basically the same thing. So. Yeah.
Hey, when you said Polaris contacted you about your Dorothy Hamill sled, how did they find
Dorothy
out?
Mercer.
What did I say?
Hamill.
Hamill.
Yeah.
Who the hell is Dorothy Hamill?
Wizard of Oz, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Why the hell? Where did that come from?
Yeah. Yep. Polaris has ties to Wizard of
Why do
Oz.
you know it's from? How do you know it's from the Wizard
Well, she's
of Oz?
from Minnesota.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Grand Rapids, Minnesota. Okay. How did they find out that you had that sled?
So I had bought that sled on an auction, big snowmobile auction or whatever, and I don't know if anybody really knew what it was until like after the fact. I showed a bunch of pictures of that sled back in the day.
Yeah.
But I think the guy who contacted me works at Polaris, and I think he might have been there at that auction, and maybe he knew what it was. But Gene Sovey, you know Gene.
Oh, yep.
The Articat.
Yep.
So he called him and asked him if he was the one that bought that machine. He said no, that I was. So, yeah. So that's how it all.
I don't know if he was a listener and heard you talk about it.
No, just vintage contacts.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay, that was what I'd wondered that this past week. I was like, I wonder if they listened to the show. Yeah. Somebody at Polaris and
so I got seat coming for it, and gonna get her cleaned up here shortly, dolled up for the show. So.
Polaris 70th anniversary this year, Bubba. Are you going up there?
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. I'm sure when you go up to something like that, people just coming up to you, just nonstop.
A lot of the older guys they don't come a lot.
I suppose.
You know.
Yeah.
Are we going?
I don't know. It'd be fun to just go up there and walk around because I had a blast at Articat 60th anniversary. They had there at the Ralph. That was fun a few years ago. So.
Yeah, it was basically the same thing except for Polaris.
Yeah. Yep.
Which I know you guys aren't too. Well, you are.
I grew up on a Polaris.
Yeah,
we grew up. Well, both on Articat and Polaris.
Yeah.
You grew up on a Polaris, and then you tell me that the Extra 10 is not the best skid frame that there ever has been. They're basically the predecessor to every modern snowmobile.
I don't know about that, Kyle.
You look at the skid frame in my 2020 and compare it to an Extra 10, it's pretty close.
Yeah?
I don't know. We'll have to ask Alex Hatteen about that one.
Yeah. Say, remember when you guys tried that beaver tail thing with the Polarises and it didn't work, and then you switched back? Yeah, remember?
Yeah.
So when do you think like the heyday of snowmobile racing was? Because it seems like there's a lot more money, a lot more eyes back in the day.
ISOC them days were the big days.
Yeah.
You'd go to Albertville, you'd go to, come to Pine Lake, the 500. They had Make-A-Wish was there. You had in Albertville, you had Kirby Puckett, you had Dan Gladden was all them, and they were auctioning things off. I mean, there was people everywhere.
Now, what years were those?
Oh, gosh, that would be in the early mid-90s.
Yeah.
93, 94, 95 in that area, 96.
What do you think happened? Why did it kind of fall off?
I think it grew too fast.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I mean, Pine Lake, you had tents set up. They had TVs out there. You could sit in there and watch some of the race on a TV in there at Pine Lake.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Same with Albertville down there where they got that little strip mall is that over there now.
Oh, yeah.
Them two little lakes, we used to be in the one lake to the west, and then you'd race and go around to the east lake and back in around and up through there back in the day.
Oh, okay. Oh, I never
In the
really
north
connected that on right next to where
There's
all
a big
those...
old red barn that's way in the back in there. We'd come in over through there and with the trucks and park along in there.
Yep. Yeah, because I've been to that. Like, that's a lot of big outlet mall stores
like
right
the
there.
Nike and all that stuff in there. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, back then I was working for John and them guys then. I was doing the staging and all that for him. And then we did the 500s. Me and Paul English, we'd do we'd line up and do all the riding for the 500. Well, Paul wouldn't do no riding. He wasn't. But go to Arctic and Joe would give us brand new sleds and he'd come riding with him and Coletti. You'd go up to Polaris and have Moose and Miles Hoganson and Jim Larson. All them guys would give you brand new Polarises and go ride and help you design and get through places. And you'd put 3,000-4,000 miles of winter on.
Yeah.
Just riding up there. You had to figure out, Paul did all the legwork for getting lined up with sheriff's departments, the fire departments, EMTs, handheld, what do they call it, them handheld guys at the Marine Band radios had reached forever. Them guys, and then you had to have, every so far, you had to have a spot picked out for landing for a helicopter if somebody got hurt.
Oh,
and
wow.
then you had to get with DNR every time you crossed the creek and all that stuff. I mean, he was going to meetings all summer long to line up just for the 500.
Really?
Wow.
And Brian Nelson did the same thing when he ran it. I mean, it's so many hoops to go to now you can't. It's just
That's the hard thing. It sounds like it's just getting harder and harder to get these permits to run in the ditch.
Yep.
So
And every creek you cross, you got to give it the DNR. You got to get a permit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just permitting everything right on out. That was big back then. I mean, right, we'd line up out there. We'd right that one year we were just in on the Canadian side or U.S. side from Canada, and I was running the fuel stops there, and here come David Brown down the stretch, and it was a long road, and it was whining, zing, 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 and he missed the corner, and he was hollering and screaming down the ditch, just about stuck. Come back up in there, and he said, I finally got the past Brad Pake, he said. Well, so he got his fuel, and he said, am I going to get penalized? I said, no, he was down in the ditch and stuck, he blew the corners, and he took off, and then we could hear this coming, and here come Brad on one lung in there,
Oh, yeah.
Swung in, and Bubba, take care of my sled. Yeah. Pretty soon, here come a helicopter. Dropped down. Brad threw his shit in the back there and parked the sled by the pickup, got it in a helicopter, and away he went.
Oh, geez.
Wow.
His buddies were fun. Well, that time, Brad was doing crop dusting and stuff, too, for our main and all that. He had somebody at a helicopter. Yep, they dropped right down. He jumped in the front, and away they went.
Yeah, something that you wouldn't expect at a snowmobile race.
But they had guys
Rider.
that would fly and keep track of the guys back then, too.
Yep.
You had people that did it.
Yeah, I remember that in like the 05, 06, 07 era of like the I-500s. There was a couple planes flying around.
Well, they even had it at Pine Lake that one year when John Witt won it. They dropped down. It was Noel Wagner, or if it was Bardwell, I think it was, had his plane. He was going on one of them long shoots to the west, and they just dropped right down, and there's pitching snow. He's just looking at it. That's pretty neat back in them days to have that stuff like that.
Right.
Now you got drones, but they ain't going to be able to keep up.
No,
Yeah.
no. Did you ever get to fly your drone much, Bubba?
I haven't flown it since Mandy set it up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she put took the idiot stuff put in there, so I can't be the idiot to crash it.
Yeah.
As she said it, so it comes so high over trees, plenty high, and then comes straight down,
Yep.
She just said, like, to go out south of Mom's in the big field out there and fly it there, and
Yep.
nothing in there till you get used to it. Yeah.
Yeah, that would work out good for you to spot some coyotes out running in a field.
Yeah. I wish I would have had one yesterday. There's a bear hanging out in my field, and if I had a drone, I would have dropped right down on it and followed it back in the woods. But,
I saw a bear by Wilton on my motorcycle coming home out
Just
of a
yesterday?
Yeah, just yesterday. Well, no, it was a bear cub. It was a cub running across the roads, and like, where the hell's your mom? It was just one random cub. It was weird.
Now you're going to have to be careful. All them little fawns are out running
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
You're going to be...
Yep. We just had a little fawn out in our field there a week ago or so. We were playing cornhole out in the yard, and there was the doe just kind of out walking in the field, kind of odd. And then mom and dad drove by it, and they said it was a little fawn just laying there. It must have been just born.
It was 2 weeks ago between your dad's driveway, mom and dad's driveway, and the driveway to go to Scott Faber and Pete's. Laying right in the ditch right there. And he was
really?
still
I'll be
wet,
damned.
so he wasn't very old.
It just dropped.
Yeah.
No, that's a pretty cool career, Bubba. Just driving all over the country.
Yeah, it was. It was good. I got to meet a lot of people. It was fun.
and all the names too. That's what I'm amazed by.
Yeah,
It's,
right away. It's like, God,
it's
all
not
these
just
freaking
like
names.
one couple of guys. You know, it's everybody.
Yeah.
Well, back when Nolan won it in Pine Lake, well, he was years trying in there. Them guys I'd give them my house in town. You know, I mean, it's probably about the size of your garage here. You know, and my house ain't very big, and they'd pile in there. John Sandberg, Nolan, Matt, his brother, and all them guys. They had 5-6 guys in there. You know, I'd just go stay at mom's. You know, and mom and dad's out there. And mom would make up hot dishes and stuff, bring them and throw them in the fridge. They could just when they come in late, eat up there. He did that for years. Stayed in there.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Jim Bergerman, that's the guy who made the Elite Trailers. He was wrenching for Nolan at that time, and
So pretty damn cool. Yeah. What? What's your favorite race? Is it the Ironman or the
Ironman is pretty cool, but the 500.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to have your stuff together. You know, you got ditch running, you got woods running, you got river running, and you got to make it last. You know, you don't win it in the first 50 miles. You know,
Yeah. You got to have all your ducks in a row
all
for
your
that
ducks
one.
in a row. Set up for each. You know, you can change. You know, you get your 2-hour work period. You can change your skid frame up a little bit. You know, I know Reed Wadena, he was leading the year that Zach won it there, and I was driving for White and them guys. He was 2 minutes ahead of everybody, but he was set for flat out because we did a lot of groom trail running. Well, he didn't change it over, and he was getting kicked when he went to the ditch running, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I remember that. I was up there when they came from Winnipeg that day.
Yeah.
When it was Herf and Ree.
Yeah.
1 and 2. That was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And one year, Tom Rager called me and asked what's the best setups. Where can we go test to find what we're going to need for the 500? And I said, well, if you go over by Goodridge, you're going to have the river, you got a ditch running, you got woods. Well, they went in there and he called and said, where can we park over there? So I called Dave Dolan and David Schulstad. That time Dave Dolan was he's farming and he had his own motor grader. They went and plowed out the city park there. Here comes Skidoo in there with about 8-10 trailers, and they spent a week there testing right in Goodridge.
Wow.
Lynn Felker and all them guys come from Loveland, Colorado, and you had Dermis and you had Todd Wolf and all them guys were all piling there. Tony and them were all there, and they'd go stay in Thief River, but they'd come out, and that's where they tested for the whole week before the 500.
Yeah.
Because everybody else and all the other guys were either up in Polaris or you're up at Arctic, one of the two, and you know
You're right there.
You're right there,
Yeah.
right? And you know they're out of Wausau and Colorado, wherever Annandale, Todd was from, and all that. So they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And all that was set up by a phone call.
Yeah, my phone call. Yeah.
Pretty neat. Pretty cool.
Then that year, one of the years that Todd won it was just can't think of his name now. Trevor John was leading the last day going out. Joey told him where to go and took him out for a drive, and away he went. And I don't know, somehow, first few miles out there, Trevor made a wrong turn. Joey chased him down about 4 miles to get him come back. Todd had went by, and then Todd was hitting him approaches, and he was looking, and you'd see in he didn't know it at that time where the rabbits are. He thought that was Trevor's tracks, where he was hitting in the snow and everything. So he was flying farther, and he couldn't catch him, and he was hitting them harder and hitting them harder. And he said, "Where is this guy?" Well, he didn't know that we'd sent the rabbits. That's the rabbit tracks an hour ahead or something, So he come and then the guys were calling me and said that they finally got Trevor turned around and was in the fuel stop, and then I went out there and Bob was over there to Todd. Todd said, "I can't find him. Where's he at? I can't catch him. I'm hitting him." And I said, "He's behind you. You took the wrong turn." I said, "But he's coming, so you better keep picking it up." And they ended up winning that way. But yeah, said I was hitting him, and I'd look and I'd see him. Man, couldn't see no snow dust, no nothing. And lucky he didn't cartwheel then, But Trevor was he on a mission coming behind, boy.
Yeah, Brian had told that story when he was on here that it was him and Trevor in the car with Joey, and they went and looked at the track, and he said he told him turn here, and
yeah. Then one Ironman, we and Joey were doing making the track and going and riding the sleds, and Joey said, "We got enough. He was like pushing 65 miles, and it's always been you never get to that 65 because guys would run out. No, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. Well, Joey, they ride a hell of a lot harder than me and you ride, even though you are an old racer. But,
Yeah.
And then the guys started running out. And Joey, get over here. We went to the race shop, got on the sleds, and then we were driving the track, for the mileage. That's when everything started where you filled them right to the top at the
sure.
No matter what, you fill it right to that top. So the speech was I give. I said, "You want them guys? They're volunteer people here. It's 20 below or whatever it is. They're out here to filling you up. You better not give them no hassle, no slack." I said, "I'm going to be right here, and if you give them any shit, guess what? You might as well load it the truck because without them guys, you have no race."
Yeah.
So they're going to fill it up to the top. They all got rags and everything to keep spills and all that stuff. Some of the guys, thank you. That's the way it should be, Them guys didn't have to give up their day, but there was a lot of the Plumber Snowmobile Club guys, the Matson boys. You had the guys from Goodridge was helping. I mean, you had a lot of Plumber Club, a bunch. It was good.
Yeah.
It was there every year.
The last 500 or whatever, I come up and my goggles were fogging real bad or whatever, and I come up on a guy holding a stop paddle, and I lock it up, and I pulled off to the side, and a couple guys that got past me, but I told a guy running the stop paddle, I was like, "Grab my goggles out of my bag," and he's clipping it. I'm like, "Hurry!" Yeah, so I'm taking my goggles off, and he's grabbing mine, and I get him throw it on. I told him to just shove them in there and zip it up, and he's like, "Okay, be careful." And it's a drainage ditch that's like straight down and straight up, and a lot of people were just going nose first into the bank. Well, that time it started getting clapped out like pretty gnarly. So like I think one guy went past me and he did it, and I heard it just whack, smack the bars, and come up and over. I said, thank you, and I, down and up. Yeah. He said that. I think it was Wes. He said that came through there hauling ass, and he just barely clipped the other side. And he said he caught like 10 feet of air after he went over the ditch.
Yeah,
watched it. Yeah,
but you're still. Yeah, I can imagine Wes hitting that.
yeah,
wide open.
yeah. Just banked like it was drifted perfect, so you could do that. But then after everybody started doing that, it just got G'd out.
Mm-hmm.
So the next person to try it, you're gonna get hurt. Yeah, but
you're still really involved in it, Bubba. With going, you're going pretty much watching all the races. I know the bunkies text you all the time asking on how Pine Lake is forming up.
I just tell them the 56 has already got 200-300 miles on it. Yep. If you want to come and test, you start testing. Be your Thanksgiving weekend because they're usually there.
yeah.
Yeah, I've known Gabe for many years. Gabe.
Yeah, when me and Dad are always out there walking out checking ice, and it's like pretty soon you see Bubba just drive up to the shore and he's out there watching us and walk back and tell you how many he's out there, and you know that information just gets networked out.
Yep. The old grapevine.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how long was that, Brody?
2 hours. No, hold on. Sorry. 1 hour, 52 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
What are they going to do when the fuel stops from now on?
I don't know.
They got to do something.
What do you think they should do?
Well, I was talking to Clay about it. I said what they ought to do, my opinion is they buy 15, 18 cans. Mm-hmm. They're all the same.
Yeah.
They put a number on them. You guys come, draw a number. That's your can. You dump your fuel in there. That's what you got.
Yep.
Can doesn't. And that can goes back in. If it's been anything altered, you're done.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Clay said he should do a 30-minute fuel stop.
30
second. 30-second fuel stop. So when you come in, you're on the clock. You can go do whatever you want. You got 30 seconds. It takes you guys, 17 to 19 minutes or seconds, I mean?
Yeah, like I'd say to dump 4.
If you dump all the gas in instead of spill it on the ground, some guys do.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say to dump 4 gallons, it's like 20 some odd seconds.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you can do, but 30 seconds, dump whatever you want to dump.
Yep.
But you can't go until your 30 seconds is up.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
So everybody's on the line. So you want to have a cheater can, have your cheater can.
Yeah.
You ain't going after 30 seconds, which is a good thing. Mm-hmm. Then you got time if you really want to change goggles or switch some gloves. It's not on the gun.
Yeah, it's not so hectic.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and hold you right at the line when you're waiting there.
Well, you get your fuel, you get done deal, you can move up to a little staging deal, and the guy's there, and all of a sudden, there's like the starting line. Okay, you're good to go.
Yep. Yeah.
That's an interesting.
And you just have like a couple people watching timers.
Yeah, and that would eliminate having them buy the cans and stuff.
Yeah. But I mean, if you can have your cheater can all you want, but 30 seconds, you're going to be there.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, because I'd say at most you'd probably ever have maybe 4 guys in the fuel stop at once. Mm-hmm. That'd be a pretty unorthodox time, but you could have 4 in there at one time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's enough people standing around to hold a stopwatch when,
Yep.
when that rider comes in, you're on the clock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to put 2 gallons in, you put 2 gallons in. If you run out half a mile short, it's on you.
Yeah, that's why I wish. I wish there wouldn't be. See, that's where they changed the rule from 2 gallons to 4 gallons because there was some people that were mad that the 4-stroke was getting better mileage. Mm-hmm. So that's why I changed it to 4. But it don't really.
Put it 30 seconds and everybody's on the same page.
Yep.
You want to dump 2 gallons, dump 4 gallons, change goggles, change gloves.
Yep.
Whatever.
Dump 2. Yeah, dump whatever you want.
Whatever you want. You got 30 seconds there. Do whatever you want. You got 30 seconds, then you can go.
Yeah. Let the people that want to push the limit run out of gas.
Yeah.
It adds some excitement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that because then 30 seconds is still enough to where if my can is fast and dump 2 gallons, or if your can is slow and you guys kind of screw up your fuel stop, you're going to pay the price. Mm-hmm. So there's still an aspect of having a good fast fuel stop to it too.
Oh yeah,
to where it's not like a minute would be too long. Mm-hmm. To where like if you came in there and sat for a minute, that defeat the purpose of having a practiced fuel stop.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I do know Chad talked about something about changing something for the fuel stop with the debacle they had down in Nadawash. So yeah, that could definitely.
That's a good idea.
But where was the tech guy and where was the staging guy when the fueling was going on? When I did it, I was right there.
Yeah.
Tom Lawrence was there with me. Wherever the tech guy was right there, we were watching.
Yeah.
That's part of your job.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been the Wild West for a few years.
Oh, yeah. I know Pat Mock called me when Corey Davidson fueled on the last lap. Coming for some race, and I was in the truck, and I said, disqualify him. Well, he says he's not coming anymore. You want one guy mad at you, you want 40.
Yeah.
You'll gain way more credibility by kicking him out. Done. It means you mean business. It'll clean up any of the other bullshit, you know? All it takes is one guy to be out, and it's deal, and especially when you say you're going to get kicked out, then they don't do it.
Yeah.
You lose a lot of faith that way in a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah, when you say a rule, you didn't follow through with it, it's like, okay, he's not messing around.
Because when we did the manifold system during the 500s and the Ironman, back then we had 8 stations you go on. Well, then Skidoo come up with premix on their sleds. So then they'd get in it. We'd have to have a second manifold just for them guys.
Yep. Right.
Well, that was their plan theory was if they come in, they're the only ones there, their truck's going to. So if you're on the regular gas one on your fourth back, it's going to be a little slower. So I just timed everybody what it was, and if you're back, it's kind of the luck of the draw, but if you come in and you're 7th or 8th and you're in the back, well, we'd credit you 10, 15 seconds or whatever it used to be because to be fair, and let the guy make it up on the deal.
That's happened to me. That happened to me twice in the 500 here. Be the first one coming in a group or whatever, you go to the front of the fuel rail, well, and the guys behind you, they're fueling faster than the front because it's just a long tube. That's all it is. So, the guys that were behind me would drive right around and then get out on the track, and you got to deal with that. Yeah.
There was something just like about that, like just last year or 2 or 3 years ago, where they didn't have a vent open or something that they had kind of screwed up. So like there was a bunch of time credits being given out.
Yeah, and when they weren't pumping, you just watch it
trickle.
Yeah.
See, we had the bulk trucks like they got, and it was Johnson Oil that made up them manifolds for ISOC back in the day.
Yeah.
And Brian Nelson made up another one there. We found them ones that were up, and they were up just north of the Middle River. The one girl that was the secretary of dealing there, she had them in her shed there. Had them on a trailer. I hauled them things around on a 2-place snowmobile trailer all over the place. We had Donvik Oil, Bergs at that time. They'd come and we'd come through. They'd put their truck on there, and fill up, wherever we were getting at,
No, that was a good take on the fuel.
Yeah, for sure.
We got to do something to make it, you got to cut out the cheating. You're racing for big money.
Yep.
And pride and all the hard work and everything's in there. You got to be on the same playing field.
Yep. Yeah, that was I had that take. I said this isn't Bush League. Like we're the top pros.
There's so many other rules, but
you got
in the fuel stop,
you got to stick to everything.
Yeah.
You want them guys to keep coming back and keep doing it, and otherwise you're going to have nothing.
Yep.
And sure, do you want to hurt any feelings? No, you don't want to hurt nobody's feelings, but the rule's the rule, and the guys are going to bend them. You just got to pinch them before they bend too far, and it'll be back to straight again.
Yep. Good take.
Yeah, no, totally.
Well, I don't. You got any other cool stories, Bubba? I mean, you probably got a whole.
I'm sure.
Notebook.
Yeah, it's another guest where we could do like 6 or 7 shows with and just constantly
I wish
bullshit.
I could remember that motocross kid.
As soon as we stop recording, you'll pop right in.
He won a regional Supercross.
Oh, he won the national AMA on a 125.
Oh, a national.
Yep.
Okay.
AMA back here.
National championship on a 125.
Yeah, he was. It was on a Kawasaki, and his number was either 12 or 14.
Kevin Windham?
No, he was up there riding though. I mean, Andre bought a lot of them big guys back from from here. I went from the States and you're up there. I mean, Chisholms were up there later on after I was out of there.
How do you like the bike, Brody?
Oh, I love it. It's,
Yamaha Bolt?
Yamaha Bolt 950 R spec, gray and black, debadged.
Oh,
What kind of pipes are on those?
Vance and Hines?
Vans and Hines, yeah. God. No, it's awesome. Yeah.
Nice.
I knew I was either going to like it or not because I drove it back from Duluth.
Yeah.
So, that was 200 miles
I asked
driving it back home.
If you said anything when you got back, and you just said that the pant legs were...
I definitely need to get some modern day spurs for my pant legs because they were flapping against my legs, and I was getting so annoyed. It almost ruined the ride.
Yeah.
But it was still awesome.
Didn't get uncomfortable or anything?
No, not
Nice.
really. Just kind of move around, but you can move around on it enough where.
Ivan Tedesco?
Nope.
Mike Brown?
It would be probably at about 7, 8, 9 is when he won it. We were up there in 2005, and he was only like 14 then. He was just getting rolling in there.
Ryan Villapoto?
Nope.
Yeah, that's the 125 national champions.
Oh, I know.
Grant Langston? No.
Nope.
James Stewart?
Probably would remember that one.
He didn't do very good on a 450. And then there. I'll have to find it.
Yeah.
See it, let you know. But yeah, it was pretty neat. He was, like I said, his folks sold everything they had, his farm, everything, put into that kid's race, and then he made it big and
it paid off. Wow.
paid off for him. Yeah.
Yep.
And he was probably 120 pounds of wringing wet, maybe. You know? He could ride though, that kid.
Yeah, because I got the list of the champions there, and that middle box there by year.
So there's a big race coming up in Maine, supposedly. It's a teaser.
Okay.
It's 250 laps on a half-mile horse track.
For what? For
Snowmobiles.
snowmobiles. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. On a horse track.
So is it going to be ice? Is it going to be snow? Open class rules?
Who's putting it on?
NEXC? Well, yeah.
Scott Preston?
80K, or yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Wow.
250 laps on a half-mile oval course.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a teaser for right now.
Yeah.
So
Not 100% sure.
not 100% sure, but I think that'd be a race. That'd be a hell of a race. Northern Maine. So how are we going to get there?
I don't know.
So next week's show, we don't know 100% if we're doing the show or not.
It's up in the air.
It's up in the air.
It's debatable. School 10-year school reunion going on Saturday, and then Sunday I may or may not head down to Nevis and help Vince do some sweeping or something with the border battle. We'll see. So I don't know what time that'll be that I would get back.
Well, back then it was a 125 that guy was riding.
Yeah, so like
At the 125, there's a few in there, but God. I can see that kid so plain, but I cannot put my finger on him.
Let's draw a picture.
So we may or may not do a show next week, but if we do, it'll be a bonus show. People will be happy about it.
Yeah. Me and Kyle will be extremely hungover for it. But
Yeah.
Are you doing any more marathon running?
oh yeah, yep, I'm training. Yeah.
Just
did
on the bike or?
No. that might take over some training, but I don't want it to. but-
No, come home, do your running,
Yeah.
and then just
Or you could ride the bike to work.
Oh yeah, I do plan on riding my bike to work a couple days a week, but no, yep, just did 6 miles Friday. Didn't feel too bad. Feel pretty good. I wasn't even remotely close to feeling this good last year, so
That's good.
yeah.
middle October again. Yeah.
Yep, October 14th or 13th. Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, first time I did 6 miles last year, I came home and I was starving. I was pounding water and my protein shake and my food. And last Friday it was just 6 miles. Came home and then mowed the grass. Just
Nice.
normal day. It's like, yep, I'm a lot more confident in just my baseline running.
Sure.
So
That's
yeah.
good. Huh.
Yeah, me and Kyle did some motos before we came over here and did this episode. So
Yeah.
So
Talking about the dirt and the nose still.
Kyle's got an extra thick mustache today.
A little
Is it
darker.
Still there.
It's super dark.
It was pretty dusty. It was pretty dry.
Yeah, cool.
You did good today on that dry, slick conditions. That's a tricky condition because that's what I grew up riding on. You did good.
Why do you keep looking at me?
I was fully
I believe you.
expecting to see Kyle laying on the ground and washing the front tire or tucking the front.
I did win that one time. Though.
Yeah, when I was right behind you. Yeah, you knifed her in there pretty good on that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Totally redeemed myself, though.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, that was fun.
Nice. Can't find it?
No, I can't.
Oh, shoot.
Oh, maybe he's a listener.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would that be something?
We might have to call into Bubba sometime and pick his brain a little bit on some of the subjects that we talk about.
Yeah.
Like the old school days.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were pretty cool. I mean,
What do you think of this triple class we're doing this year with these ZRT triples we're building up?
you know, it's pretty fun to watch and see some of that old stuff there, but it's hard to find that stuff and get anybody back into doing that, because everybody's focusing on their either the 600 sled or the open sled,
Yeah.
Yep.
My full intent is with this ZRT that I'm building is if it is fast enough, I'll run it in the open class. And I would, it's not going to be like that for other teams, but, you could suggest to other guys, if it is faster, just race that in the open class.
Yeah.
Screw it. Yeah. But I don't know.
But no, I do see what you mean. Like, yeah, it's not bringing in. Yeah.
Well,
It's hard to find parts. And
The
so,
factories them guys got so much pressure to get done that pro stock and pro open deal that they don't want them to mess around that and then get hurt or something else
Yeah.
besides,
Yep. Yep.
yeah, and yeah, it's hard to come by parts and stuff and find sleds. So,
And then you got 2-3 guys out of a trailer. I mean, you got 6 sleds you're running. And
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now me and Dad have 4 or 5 sleds set up just for
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
you have to make
2 pickups now.
yeah.
Oh, we've been doing that the last few years.
Yeah.
2 sleds. 2
You
sleds.
just got to
apiece.
buy a big 4-place trailer and then
Yeah. Yeah. Fancy.
jackknife the front end and run them off the front.
Yeah. Fancy 4-place trailer.
We're moving up in the world.
Yeah.
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 Just take the car trailer. That'll fit 4 on there.
Oh yeah.
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 Huh. No, we've wanted to buy an enclosed trailer, but for us, just doing these 2-3 races a year, it's just not worth it. But maybe we win Pine Lake, we'll win enough money to buy a trailer.
One of your sponsors should be able to cough up and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Huh. No,
That sure would be cool.
You go down and talk to Roland down there in Thief River, and he's got all them trailers
Yeah,
there in the
yeah.
south, and get him to sponsor you and borrow a trailer for the summer, for the winter.
That'd be slick. At least a trailer to try to go out east and try to do.
Well, you
one.
can dress and you're cold. You don't have to stand outside and sit
Yeah.
and pick up. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Have a crock pot going, have something to eat.
Yeah.
You want it. It just makes a big difference to get out of the
Oh
element.
yeah, yeah. Because we've
Sit down and relax. You know?
we've had Nate. Nate has brought his trailer down there for us these last 2 years.
Yeah.
and that's been
Thaw the sleds out a little bit before the heat.
yep.
And like this year, all the times you had to work on the sled,
Yeah,
bringing it in there
Yeah, on Saturday.
when it was
Saturday,
so freaking cold.
Saturday
too.
morning, I crashed and brought sled in the trailer and worked on it. And Saturday during the final crash, but then we brought it home.
Yeah.
So that's the one nice thing about living that close to Convict or
Yeah.
living that close to Pine Lake.
Yeah, it seems like every year somebody comes up and asks us if they have something. It's like, yeah, got it at home. I'll grab it tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, even Ryan Nelson asked us down at Nadawash if we had some part for his old Polaris.
It was the Jets, or he asked me for a radius rod, so I brought him
Oh,
one.
yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah,
Yep.
and then he was wondering about Jets also.
Yeah, it was something with the radius rod, and here Dad had some part
Yeah.
for him deep in his toolbox, and so it was nice to help somebody out like
Yeah.
that with some older snowmobile stuff.
Yeah, you're talking about that helping. I remember Kyle Pleen when he was racing him and his brother, and they needed some part, whatever, and Larry didn't have it over there, and he come over and asked if we had something like that, and I went up to the parts bin. Yeah, I got it there. Well, how much is it? I said, just go have fun and win a race.
Yeah.
That's what Kyle was. Well, he was, I think, sport riding then or whatever then, and now look where he went through, you know.
Yeah.
I said, give it to the end. Don't ever give up.
Yeah.
You know, we give a lot of guys that stuff, you know. I mean, it's easy. Bring it back later, get one later, whatever. But half the time, you never. Back then, you know, trailers were full. You didn't worry about it, you know.
Yeah.
Now everything's tightening up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you heard the rumor John Deere going to buy Arctic
Yep.
Cats?
Yeah,
We talked about that last week. That will be on.
I wouldn't mind it. I don't think I'd hate it. I think I'd be racing a John Deere Liquidator in the next couple of years. Yeah.
Catalyst will be green and yellow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nah.
Be just like John Deere
Yeah.
green instead of Arctic Cat green.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's more than a rumor. There's some push behind it. But then I thought I seen something that John Deere just laid some people off on like some of their farming implement stuff. So
Well, I heard a little rumor that, like, when Yamaha, the last build of the Yamaha motors going to Arctic chassis,
yep.
then they had Arctic put out a survey to the guys on there. What would you buy then? Whatever. They said a lot of them were going to switch over to Skidoo.
Oh, like the diehard Yamaha guys,
Yep.
they went by Arctic Cat. Huh.
Yep.
Interesting. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Arctic Cat does with like their 4-stroke line. If they'll still be putting Yamaha engines in them and doing the same thing, or if they're going to kind of discontinue their partnership with Yamaha fully.
Yeah. Because, I mean, their ATB division they're 20 years behind.
Oh
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, totally.
You know, they don't, nothing anymore. you
No,
know.
no. So it's been. I've never looked into a Arctic Cat ATV or side by side. They're double X's. They're sporty side by side that they just came out with a few years ago. That was a step in the right direction. It seemed like they had kind of taken a step forward, but there's just a few odds and ends. Like even Dad brought it up that last episode where they have the tie rods out in front of the A arms. It's like you hit a tree, your tie rod shot.
Yeah. Can't steer the rest of the day.
No, but yeah, it'll be interesting when I talked to Derek Coletti up at Jesse Hallstrom's graduation party there. He'd said that last Tuesday after Memorial Day, the Textron CEO was coming up there, and there was going to be a few other private jets flying into the Thief River Airport that day. So
But, you know, it could be a lot of cuts for,
it,
you know, I mean, Arctic Racing Department isn't very strong anymore. Used to
No.
be pretty.
it's sad on how much they're making Mike Coletti do, on how he's the one man show up there, and
Yeah, parts, and they've always been big. As far as I've known them guys, even Joey Bakke, they've always been way behind on getting like the apps out for you guys to fill out to be on the race program. Who's getting what sled? Who's getting them? And you know, I mean, gripe. I know if you get them 8-10 days before you'd have to be in Duluth.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, and then Polaris, them guys got them. They've had them for a month. Skidoo's had them for a month, but now them guys have been kind of struggling too lately. The last with parts and everything to get and recalls on stuff, and it's just getting tighter and tighter. But
yeah, even our first year with CAD, Don Haugen was still up there, and Kellen was still up there, and so it was a full functioning race shop, and then you just kind of talked to Coletti with what like some higher end stuff you needed, and Don could handle all the ordering and everything, and so now I feel bad bothering Coletti when you only need to order one or two little things that he's got 20 other people ordering one or two things from him. So it's going to be interesting for sure, even through like the whole snowmobile industry for like this next year with the terrible winter we had on like just the impacts it's going to have.
well, somebody said they were going to build way less sleds.
But
I mean, all the dealers are in that same.
Oh, yeah,
top shape.
totally.
yeah.
You know, I was talking to one guy, and he said you go to Eagle River out there, and them guys that had all them rental sleds, they're still there.
Yeah.
There's no nothing on them. I mean,
Yeah.
paying interest all summer long, and I mean,
Yeah. Think of how many people have sleds in their garages with 10 miles on them,
Yeah.
if that. And that's what, when we were selling Dad's Catalyst, he had 1,000 miles on there. And one comment was, how did you put 1,000 miles on it?
Yeah.
but at least Skidoo and Polaris, you know, they got the ATV to bounce back a little bit. Arctic don't have it. That's it's a heck of a blow.
Yeah. So yeah, it'll definitely be interesting on kind of how it unfolds.
I never did figure out why them guys, and I asked them, why did they, you know, back in the day they were making 25, 27 different models. Why didn't you make like 5-6 models, and then all the extras, accessories you could swap on each one.
Yep,
You know, like
exactly.
a 400, a 500, a race sled, a 600, 700, whatever. And
That's exactly what we were talking about last week. If if they made a sled that was, just a basic economy sled that's affordable to everybody, and I think that'd be a hit. Just like Arctic Cat Jag or like a Indie Trail back in the day, everybody had them freaking things. So it's like, why not, make something that somebody can afford?
yeah, and then sell it to the dealers that you don't have. Okay, what's a dealer out west of y'all's going to do with a Bearcat?
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
so you got to take X amount of them, or like when Steve and Dean had TNS, you get a little Lynx or something. I mean, they're in Fergus Falls where it's prime riding. You don't want something, but you got to take them. Here comes a truckload, and here you go. So you cruise them, and then you get on the shit list. Then you don't got to carry so much money in parts if you don't have them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's.
Yeah, when RV Sports went down in Thief River, it's like a Arctic Cat dealer in Thief River
Yeah.
is gone.
Country
But now
Cat takes it over pretty hard, them guys.
But now Hubert's in Thief
Yep.
River there. They're the
Yeah.
Arctic Cat dealer that we went through this last year, and they were super nice people there. So
Yeah, I remember Dwayne. We had a lot of work in the back room there. We were racing there with Steve Dahl and all them guys there. We were in the back there benching all the time. Burning down and rebuilding. Burning down and rebuilding.
Well, did you have fun on your first podcast?
Yeah, it went a lot better than I thought.
I know I asked you a couple times, and I don't know if you were nervous to come on or what. But no, it went really good.
It was good. It was fun.
Awesome.
Yeah, I feel like it'll be a hit. The first 20 minutes, there's so much knowledge in it. So it's like,
No, definitely another. We could do a part 2 on just
I'd be game.
the
Yeah,
amount of
cool.
stories.
Yeah.
Even Jesse Hallstrom was giving me hell. He said, you got to have Brian Dyrdahl back on. And I said, Brian's welcome whenever he wants to come on and tell as many stories as he wants. Because it's just the unlimited stories that people have about this little niche industry that we all grew up with.
But awesome. You had a good time. Being the first podcast for people is it's a little, I don't know, nervous for us too, I guess.
You guys
For
do
me,
good.
anyway.
You guys do good. It's fun watching you guys, listening to you guys. When you hit around here, your dad said when he was on the first, I was so all wound up tight. Second time I had a few beers, so I was more loose. But your dad's been around the world too. He's been around for years.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I remember when he bought that F6 from Hector, sent your mom up to get it. Hey, I'm looking for an F6. Well, come and call Hector. Yeah, I got one. And we went.
Yep.
Then he was mad because he was slow with it. Give me that box. Took it up, said he zapped the box, come back, and he was like 5-6 miles an hour faster.
Yeah, that's probably one sled that he wishes he could have kept on the shelf or something, but just the chassis was going away with it and can't really afford to just keep it. You got to kind of sell it to be able to afford the next one. So but no, thanks again for doing this, Bubba.
You bet. Thanks for having me, guys. It was
awesome.
fun.
We really appreciate it. So
It was easy. I could just keep staring at that bike. If I
yeah, that is a sharp bike, Brody.
Yeah.
You're welcome. I found it for you. I did middleman dealing with it for you and everything. So drove you out there.
dropped
drove
them
me
off
in.
right at it.
Yeah.
Now you got to ride it back.
Talked me into buying it, basically.
Yeah. So B and I talked you into it. Are you happy with?
Oh, definitely. It couldn't.
Spending your moldy money.
Yeah. No, totally. It could not have went any better. Could not have been the better bike to find. Yeah, it was perfect.
Yeah.
If every transaction like that, happened like that, went as smooth like that, it'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Shit, I got a bunch of shit you could buy from me.
See, that's a bunch of shit. That ain't shit. That's a brand new showroom motorcycle.
Just like you said, once you get the feel for it, it's badass.
But no, I've just been thinking about starting it up for you guys. Listen to that thing purr.
Sure. Yeah, fire it up. Well, no, I don't know. If the
I don't
mics-
know.
I don't know if the mics would pick it up or not. But we said he was going to do a burnout, and I'd flip the camera around and show that.
I'm not doing that either. The guy we bought it from, he told me, do a burnout going out my driveway. It's like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that, but you're pretty damn cool. So
Huh. Well, all right. Well, episode 35 in the books.
Awesome.
We'll maybe be back next week. Maybe not, but we'll see. So, yeah, thanks again, Bubba.
You bet. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks. See ya.